It only took you 2 tries. Good job. So, has the darkness completely consumed you? I thought I was doing bad this week, and then I ate something today, which revealed that I hadn't eaten anything substantial since like Monday. So
I feel this deeply. Also, I unmuted myself. We're not starting yet. I just wanted to talk. Hi. I'm doing great.
PS5 speaking to you inside your brain. Leap, boy.
It compels me. It does not give up. Anyway, I'm making my little posts.
It will be better this time.
See, the thing is, no, I'm not.
So I recall last time we managed to buy the keelback, so we were in the keelback.
Yes.
I missed the naming, I think.
Khaki named it.
What did Khaki name it?
The romantic bovine.
Perfect for Uncle Kow.
Yeah, it's really good, actually, is the thing. It's really growing on me.
It also describes how it moves.
Yes.
What, like a love-drunk cow.
Precisely.
So what's our weapon loadout on the keelback? I have tried countless times to make something that doesn't suck ass on it. This is my favorite ship in the game. Not because it's good or fun to fly, just because I like it. I love the idea of it.
It is the same weapon loadout that the Bella Chow had. It's 2 medium multi-cannons and 2 small lasers. They're currently pulse lasers. They will eventually be beam lasers.
The most effective loadout in the game.
Yes.
A little bit boring, but it is kind of impossible to use anything even a little bit worse than that on this and expect it to deal damage to anything. I had a tremendous amount of quote-unquote fun playing it with a single ship hangar, which is just a shit show in the first place, because you can only launch 1 ship. That means you have to go back every time it fucking crashes, which happens instantly if you've hired an NPC. And
hang on. Are we talking about fighters?
Yeah.
Oh, you got reloads. You carry more than 1.
I either didn't have the option to do that at the station where I fitted into it, or I used them all. I don't remember which. I just remember
that is possible.
I think it was I watched my NPC pilot shoot off into the stratosphere. No, I got in the ship, and my NPC pilot promptly flew directly into an Anaconda and a CZ.
Yeah, that sounds right. They are, they kind of have the same, attitude and, self-preservation ability as those little dogs that bark at everything.
So, he died, and then I had 8 minutes to return to the ship, which was space dust, before I died. And I couldn't keep anything that I had because there's no hyperdrive on a fighter. And also, I'm not sure how I survived because I know I'm not in the fighter, so... Because it's telepiloting.
It's magic, yeah.
Yeah, your hands are all holographic, and I don't know why everything isn't like this, because it's just a stupid fucking setting, but like...
Yeah. It really is. I don't doubt that we're going to be discussing that a lot tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
There's nothing good happening on GDQ tonight. Tomorrow, I think, is the good day for GDQ. But I don't know. Maybe there's no good days.
The vibes have been off this year, that's all I'm going to say. Illbleed Run was good, though. I wish there were more, like, skips in that, though. If it was below an hour, I would absolutely try to run it myself. An hour is my limit.
Yeah.
I will be right back.
What do you want from me? Okay.
Okay, I'm back again. I refilled my drink. And then proceeded to drink most of it anyway. Let's get this thing started. I don't know what it is, but just the framing of this scene. Every time I switch to this, I want to do the little like, oh, hello there. I didn't see you come in. Hey, what's going on?
I think you almost need like a like some kind of thing that pans the camera in, like it swoops in outside the ship and then like splats against the windshield, and then it does your static cut, and then you can say that, like an intro.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that'd be something. I wonder how I could cook up something like that.
I can't think of an easy way to do it without making it some kind of 3D animation, which would take a lot of time. But like, just having like some kind of like window cleaning bot, and then you just like a hand reaches out from the top of the ship and smacks into the windshield, and then it does your static cut, tweet, and then we're back in here. Oh, hello there. I didn't see you come. Let me just turn the wipers on.
Not a bad idea. Hey, Dana, really quick, I need you to look at the title of this song.
Title of this song. 1969 character, palm tree fucker, smiley face.
Yeah.
Well, now I want to listen to palm tree fucker.
It's pretty good. I didn't even notice that when we started. So, yeah, we're here again. We're back at it again in deep space. By that I mean we're not in deep space yet. We're currently parked somewhere. But the plan for today is to, indeed, go into deep space. Specifically, we're going back to where we were before because I need to fill back up on niobium, but I like the process of just going into space. I like the process of flying. And I think we're going to have a good time.
We're recapturing the energy.
We're recapturing the energy, yeah.
So when you say deep, deep space, when you say deep space, ignore that. How deep are we talking here?
Let's see here. Well, you'll find out in just a second. You may notice, it turns out I remember why I liked Ortiz Moreno City. Because we're in Space Miami.
I'm liking the colors are really good.
Oh, you haven't seen anything yet. Check this out.
I'm checking it out. Oh ho! Palmed trees.
Somebody call the palm tree fucker, because we got palm trees.
I think you've already called them. They're on the line. They're doing their own thing.
Indeed, indeed. But yeah, this is one of these cool stations that has I think these are like supposed to be tourism stations or something like that. They look like a big ass luxury hotel. It's really cool. Normally I don't like this kind of aesthetic, but it's neat. It's neat. I like it. Before we take off, let's see here. I conveniently have it bookmarked where we can find, I think we were looking for vanadium. Or was it yttrium? I think it was yttrium. So let's go ahead and plot that route real quick. Oh wow, look at that. That's 52 jumps. I have good news though.
What's our good news?
The good news is, one moment, allow me to consult my notes. Let's see, that's in WISE 1506 7027. Plug that in. The good news is that we have the materials we need to buy something very important.
Is it a better frame shift drive?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We have the materials necessary to actually get the pre-upgraded frameshift drive, which is just better than anything you could possibly engineer yourself.
It's really that good. It's like an A rank. Oh no, because it's got 2 experimentals, doesn't it?
Not even necessarily because of the 2 experimentals. Like, the 2 experimentals does help a lot in that fast boot does have a marginal increase to optimize. Jesus Christ. Hello? Roadhog?
Love what's happening.
I wish this ship had a horn. I get so much use out of the horn in both SnowRunner and Truck Sim. Anyway, the secondary effect, like the second engineering thing, does have a boost to optimal mass, I believe, which does give you an increase in jump range, but it is also the maximum G5 roll. You could not get a natural roll like this. There will always be a fractional decrease in efficacy.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you could cap it out. I didn't realize it still used the old rolling mechanic.
There is just enough of the rolling mechanic that you'll get fractional stuff. Like, the thing is, the fractions I'm talking about are very, very tiny. Like, insignificant.
So I'm guessing the other one would be Mass Manager or Deep Charge or whatever.
Yeah.
The other experimental. I forget which one it is.
I completely forget what experimental effect it has. We're gonna find out.
Yeah. I don't know, because I remember the... No, I'm thinking regular engines, because dirty drives is always better than clean drives, unless for some reason you need to lower your temperature.
It's seen some use for anti-Xeno stuff, but very, very edge case. Most of the time, the amount of heat reduction is so low as to be pointless. It's only when you're right on the edge with a build.
Dirty drives is just even if you're running dirty, it's essentially it doesn't do anything because thrusters are such a negligible component of your core heat.
Mm-hmm. It really is mostly your shields,
which is baffling. Yeah, it's your shields and your actual power plant. Mm-hmm. Like your base heat is set by your power plant class, which is why nobody seriously doing anything runs less than an A.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, some exploration builds still run an A instead of a D. If you don't need the extra power capacity, you just run a down-ranked A with stripped down, and that'll do you.
Yep, and that way you won't get immediately cooked up when you run into... Excuse me? Hello?
Found my next target. It's you.
Okay, well, we're gonna kill this motherfucker.
I always check who it is first, because you can check in Super.
I don't care.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. And we got the good ship too. Not any of the simple.
Yeah, we do. We got the good shit. Oh, it's an Imperial Eagle. Interesting. So I see we are evenly matched.
You're fighting it on the Taipan?
Yeah. I love the Taipan.
I'm really fond of the fucking Star Wars ass Imperial fighter, unfortunately.
It looks ridiculous, but all the same.
The power management is also a little better. I like the plasma repeater more than I like lasers.
Fair.
I forget what the quality is. The Taipan's the most durable, right?
Yep. It's got the most armor and the most hull.
Right, and the Imp one was the fastest, but had the worst in all of those categories, whereas the Fed one is all right, which is kind of okay.
Yeah, the Fed is just like...
There you go, you got him.
Fine.
Oh, not quite. There it is. Stay on target. Stay on target.
Staying on target.
I don't believe it!
Yeah, dude. How do you like that? Dipshit.
I love how bounties are synced to your level and not to the class of ship you're destroying.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but, you know, what are you gonna do? This thing is fucking nimble. Love this thing.
Yeah, no, those are... Fighters are super zippy. It would be extremely fun to fly an actual fighter, but the game has done its damnedest to make it irritating to do this long term. If I remember correctly, the ship-launched fighters use typeless weapons, so you can actually deal damage effectively to larger ships, as opposed to using class small ones.
I believe that is the case, yeah. They have some like a little bit of god handing in the background to make them effective.
I literally, if the game would be very well balanced along lines if they had simply not... And now you're going to carry him with you?
Yeah.
Punishing for being a dipshit?
Yeah. I'm going to make him do the walk of shame from the search and rescue office.
Get hulled, idiot.
If I was a vengeful man, I would bring him with us on our road trip and dump him into a star or something. Or just leave him somewhere.
Dump him in the path of a T9 going into the docking ring.
Hello? Hello? I'm like right on target. Why did that bounce?
I think the cargo scoop, I think there's a obstruction below the cargo scoop.
Ah, right. The keelback has an off-center... Yep, I remember now. That's fine. That's fine.
You want to angle so that the thing is a little low.
Yeah. Target destroyed.
A little low. That was a little high.
Oops. Well, nobody saw that. That was probably a little high.
Yeah, you want it to be low in the targeting reticule. God, this ship is such a piece of shit. Why would you put that? Like, the actual geometry of the ship shouldn't matter. You're in first person. Like, it barely affects anything. And yet.
Yeah. The reticle really is just like basically a camera looking out of the cargo scoop. Anyway, you said low?
You want the object to be physically located below the reticule because there's like a hump on the keelback, and you were trying to dodge the hump to get into the scoop area. It should be low. It might be off to one side. I don't remember. Your first one was low.
Oh.
And that went in. Henry, get over here. What are you doing?
What the hell? Okay, this is actually new. I was picking up materials just fine the other day. It's only cargo I've had problems with.
This is a dumb question. Do you have your weapons out?
No?
Alright. Thought maybe it was hardpoints deployed. You don't have your landing gear down?
Nah.
Then
Nothing.
I don't know what's going on. The game gets less playable every time you play it.
It really does, is the thing.
And in unique ways. Like, who could have expected the cargo scoop would just stop fucking functioning today?
I remember dimly reading something about the cargo scoop on the keelback being weird, but I'd never noticed it because I'd never just had a problem with it. It might be because we deployed and retrieved our fighter. That is a possibility.
It'd be such a stupid thing to be true, but at the same time, I guess you could... You still have the limpet controller, don't you?
No, I actually dropped it.
Oh, well...
I don't remember what I replaced it with. Oh, a surface scanner. That's what I replaced it with.
Oh, okay, that's not so bad.
Yeah, no, that's actually, like, necessary. That's a thing we need to go out into deep space with.
I was just thinking that a limpet controller would bypass this problem, and you can synthesize limpets for, I think it's just iron, which is...
Yeah, it's pretty cheap.
It's baffling. It's baffling that you can do this. There's a fucking straight-up survival game crafting sub-menu hidden in the first expansion.
Yeah.
That can be used to make very expensive, complicated drones for very cheap, or it can make kind of bad ammunition for very expensive.
Yeah, hey, you know the funny thing about that? You can sympathize limpets with basically just iron, but if you want to synthesize heat sink refills, you know, something you might actually need if you're out in space, you need manufactured materials. You need heat conduction wiring. So you can't refill those out in the field.
Your heatsink jettisons the wire?
Let me bring it up on here. Unless they patched it at some point.
I know, it's just that's a baffling component to require.
Heat sinks. Yeah, basic conductors and heat conduction wiring. The premium one requires proto heat radiators, which is G5 and bafflingly rare. I have 56 of them, but don't worry about it.
That's just because you don't use them, and you've done the... I know you've done the fucking Anaconda loop. I know you. No, you have.
No?
Then I don't know how you have that many. I won't worry about it.
Just signal source farming, that's it. Not even farming the same signal source by doing the log off ski. When I started playing this game again, I told myself I was never going to do the fucking log off ski again. Except for, of course, for the Guardian sites, because it's mandatory.
Yeah, because Guardian sites otherwise don't reset ever. It sucks.
Yeah.
Great.
You're just, I guess, expected to travel thousands of light years between them.
It's called an endgame, Cow. Get with it.
Well, no, the new endgame is Thargoids.
An endgame. It's any endgame. Any game that ends has an endgame.
That is true. Hey, another keelback. Brother. Wait, no, that's an Asp scout. Enemy. Traitor.
It's so bad at identifying. It's the engines. The engines.
Actually, that's an Asp Explorer.
Maybe
I'm good at this game.
Calfus forgot. Ship.
I just forgot. It happens.
Hey, I don't know if you know, but that is in the top 1% of liners that are out there.
No, really? We're in the presence of a celebrity.
Alright, I have to yell at my cat.
Have fun. I'm gonna go buy a better drive.
Landing routine cleared to disembark.
That's 5. Excuse me? Hold up.
What do you want if you don't want to go outside, huh?
Oh, I'm mad. Oh, I'm mad. You can put it in the newspaper that I got mad. Because I'm mad. Do you want to know why I'm mad? Do you want to know why I'm mad, Deneb?
Why are you mad?
Hey, do you notice this option here that says Class 5?
Yes.
Yeah, you can't get Class 4 anymore. You can only get Class 5.
Well, I guess it's time to update to a better ship.
No. We will simply not be doing that.
All right. I guess it's time to engineer again.
No, it's time to make 50 jumps.
your resilience in the face of a game that adamantly does not want to be played is inspirational, if inspirational meant something else.
I think it's very inspirational. Oh, right. I had a... let's see. Mounting? Do you cache those here? Yeah.
Incoming message.
Wow, we're cordial with Redshift Logistics now.
That's great.
That's great. I'm happy. I'm not happy.
I guessed that, if you can believe it.
No. I hide it so well.
You sounded down like I mean, I could be wrong. You sounded downright fucking furious.
I'm a little mad.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a touch, perhaps.
Just a touch. I got the touch, and the touch is a touch mad.
Well, I've heard that if you have the touch, you also have the power.
No, that's it's a common misconception.
Is it?
Yeah.
Frameshift drive charging.
Can't believe they put fucking FOMO in the game.
I don't know, man. Did they ever have a 4-star one perfectly engineered?
As far as I can tell, other sizes existed, but they were CG rewards.
So it's only this one that it's free.
The only one you can get now is C5.
Well, I have a thought.
Yes?
Did you buy it while you were there to put it in storage?
No. Why would I even bother?
Because there might be another useless ship that could fit it.
Are you talking about the Asp Scout?
No, that's not what I was possibly a more interesting useless ship. I was thinking one of the Dolphin variants, actually.
I don't like the Dolphins, is the thing.
I think it is... well, I mean, have you heard the boost sound? It's really cool.
I have. It has the little fasten your seatbelts ding.
It's impossibly irritating to use the ship for anything else, yes, but, you know, you're flying a fucking keelback, so... Which has unique strengths. I was just gonna look. What is it? What is it? An Inara still?
Inara is the primary one. Although, if you want to look at, if you're looking at ship builds, you'd probably want to go to EDSY.
Frameshift drive charging.
That's EDSY.com? Org? What are we looking at here? Org. I don't know why it's an org. It's not non-profit.
Yeah, okay. This is what I was looking for. Let's see here. Sort by frameshift drive size.
I gotta say, I still really miss Coriolis being up to date. I always felt that was the best ship builder.
The Python only used class 5?
Yeah.
Wow. That thing lasts a long fucking time then. This is kind of just a fucking fuck show, huh? Let's see. What else is useless in here? The Alliance Challenger and Chieftain line use that. Those aren't really useless. They're expensive, mostly.
They're expensive, they look neat, but they have abysmal jump range. What we're looking...
Federal drop and gunships, the Crate and the Orca, I believe, use that.
Eh.
Forget what the Orca even is.
The Orca is another passenger ship.
And the Type 7 transporter.
I have thought about the Type 7 transporter as the thing.
The Type 7 transporter is irritating because it's the best looking ship, I think.
It looks the most like a truck out of anything in this game.
Like, it looks fantastic. It literally looks like a car, like a fucking step van.
Mm-hmm. There's one problem with it.
Fantastically blocky. It's size large. It is a bad.
Yeah, it's just too big. It's a bad size large. It's a size large without a reason to be size large, and the reason that it's size large is because it's like 2 feet too high.
It's a medium large, yeah.
Yeah, if it was just like a foot shorter, it would fit in a medium. But it's not, so it doesn't, and it occupies a useless niche.
When outfitting the Type 7 as a shielded trader, it is worth considering equipping no weapons at all for increased speed and jump range. Hard points. 4 small.
Yeah. Oh, but with those 4 small, you could carry a full suite of experimental anti-Xeno weapons.
Cal, I think you would have won the game if you managed to get a fucking notch a Xeno kill on your belts in the goddamn Type 7.
Oh, it's been done. People are killing Cyclopses and Sidewinders now. There's no prestige in it.
Cyclopses, really? In a Sidey? How?
Yeah, and a Sidewinder. Because the new anti-Xeno combat sites with Thargoid War are all around like stations and surface settlements, which means that they're constantly being distracted by defense forces, so that you can just kill them in anything.
By things that are smarter than you.
Yeah.
It's a bigger threat. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Type 7 is an adequate miner, perhaps an intermediate step between an Adder, Cobra Mark III, or Viper Mark IV?
Yeah, people insist that the Viper Mark IV is multi-role. I don't know why. It's not.
The Viper can't jump, is really slow, and it's another bad ship.
It's another bad ship.
It's just the Cobra 4.
Yeah, that is really the thing, in that, like, the Cobra is a fatter Viper that's multi-role. The Viper 4 is just the Cobra 4 version of the Viper, in that it's bad at everything the Viper did, and it's bad at everything the Cobra does.
The Viper has a bigger power plant, but the only thing that's useful for is running a bunch of railguns. And if you're running a Viper 3, you shouldn't be doing anything other than multi-cannons and regular laser guns. So.
Yeah, the only thing the Viper 4 is good at is wasting people's time, because it is, for some reason, it has just a ridiculous hull multiplier. You can load that thing up with hull reinforcements and just tank fire forever. NPC ones like to generate with a lot of hull reinforcements too, which is why I never fight them. Not because I can't beat them, but because I will get bored before I do.
Keep trying to let you out. What do you want?
I think I once got in a turn fight with a Viper 4 in a Cobra 3 for something like 8 or 9 minutes. Just taking down like 1% hull every turn, and then it would regen its shields.
I'm a big wiki walker. I love going through the wiki and figuring out what I want to do before I play a game, especially a game that has a lot of stuff like this. And when I was new at the game and very excited to be playing it, the Viper 4 looked very attractive to me because it sounds good. It looks really good on paper. It's so goddamn slow.
Yeah.
It's so impossibly. That's how I learned not to fly without rebuy. Was I bought my Viper 4, I fitted it up with all my old stuff, expecting it to be a pretty solid upgrade to what I was flying before, which was an Adder, by the way. The Adder is the other best ship in the game. I've flown a Hauler. I didn't like it as much as the Adder. The only thing that's wrong with the Adder is the offset cockpit.
Yeah.
The Adder is, incidentally, the first ship in the game you can do that can do multi-crew, which is very funny because
You can make it technical.
You can make it technical. It's just a van.
Yeah. It rules.
The thing about multi-crew is that it would actually be fun and good if you could gimbal or turret anything. Like, if you could get, like, a turreted railgun or something like that, and it wouldn't fire like that except in multi-crew. It would make it fun and interesting to do.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Unfortunately, only NPCs are allowed to have turreted railguns. They do, by the way. I have photographic evidence.
Fucking phenomenal.
Honestly, you can reproduce this yourself by getting a fighter that has a railgun. And when you fly it, the railguns will act normally. But when an NPC flies it, they have something they have something like 30 to 40 degree like variance. It basically acts like a gimbaled weapon.
I mean, it's because the NPCs don't actually know how to dogfight, and like I've seen the argument that this is the only thing to provide challenge to high-end players, but it does mean that they can just kill and destroy you instantly.
Yeah, but the thing is, people will eventually say that the game needs this to provide challenge, but that's only when you've caught them in a situation where they can't like weasel out of it. Up to that point, they will swear on their fucking lives that NPCs don't cheat, that they're subject to the same game mechanics.
Well, they're British.
They're
so
not.
They're British. What would you expect?
Oh yeah, just like cooking up in an NPC Viper at 3,000% heat, suffering no ill effects because gotta keep a stiff upper lip.
That's not what I meant by that, and I think you know it. I mean, the developers are British, so they're going to lie until they think they can't get away with it anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that seems about right. That's what happened with the new planet generation surfaces.
Oh, I hadn't heard about this. You want to talk about it?
Oh, I've talked about this a bunch of times. Essentially what happened was, for Odyssey, they redid the generation for planet surfaces. And they swore up and down, we upgraded the planet engine. They're so much more realistic now. Everything is generated using an upgraded version of the Stellar Forge. It's like Horizons, but even better, because sometimes there's like color on the horizon because of like 1% atmosphere. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and don't take this as an interruption, but these are the same planets that were noted in the pre-release material for looking worse. Correct?
Yes. Those are the same planets that were noted in pre-release material for looking significantly worse.
Like, because they had removed all of the text. They look like No Man's Sky planets.
They look like No Man's Sky planets, yeah. They're essentially made of, like, tessellated, pre-made chunks. I don't know if they used some kind of generative program to make the chunks, but the chunks are real. Hashtag fucking chunk truther. The chunks are real.
Henry, do you want to yell at the microphone instead of at me?
Henry! Our beautiful boy!
You turn off sound suppression. Let's see if that works.
Henry,
Okay.
speak to us.
Do you want to talk?
Henry! Henry, our boy! Yes! Speak, Henry! Tell us your wisdom.
His wisdom is when someone's busy, yell at them from the stairs so they have to chase you. That's how you get to play tag.
Ah, yes, very wise.
But Type 7 would be fun if trading was still fun.
Trading has been optimized to the point where it is not fun, yeah.
I mean, nothing in the game has been fun since they came out with the Road to Riches, because essentially you can earn an arbitrary amount of money, and once they balanced around that, it's just over, you know? Like,
I got a
what do they
spicier take than that. Nothing in the game has been fun since they added shield cell banks.
I mean, I've heard this version of the rant before, yes.
Like, to a lesser degree, I will always say the game has been ruined. Engineering ruined the game. I assert that this is fact. Engineering did ruin the game, but the game was already on its way to being ruined when they added shield cell banks.
Both because an experienced player with enough shield cell banks in a combat build could be literally unkillable.
No, literally, any idiot with enough shield cell banks in like a fucking Anaconda or whatever could be invincible.
Right.
I believe Sandro Samarco himself, then I believe game director or like lead designer or something like that. I don't remember what his deal was. Sandro specifically said that the game needed something like health and mana potions for ships. They were designed to be like consumables. When those were added, it was downhill from there.
Well, the real issue is that they aren't consumables. I don't think there would be an issue if there was something similar to the material system implemented now, where you could do like a shield charge for an expensive cost. Like, if it was the same as those heat sinks, like if one of those heat sink recipes gave you like 10% shields and the expensive one gave you like 30%, but because you can't carry that much material, your G5 material caps at 100. So even if it's like that, where it takes
Oh, it's higher than that.
Is it really? It's 300 then? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's 1,000.
1,000. It was not 1,000 the last time.
No, they raised the caps a lot. I'm gonna check that just to be sure because I know it's much higher than it used to be. Because eventually they just relented and made the caps higher.
I mean, especially if you wanted it to be health potions, it would have to be something you would buy. It would have to be relatively expensive. It would still need a charge time to use, and you could not. You would need to have a low cap. You'd need to be able to carry like 10 or something like that. It would be better implemented, honestly, as a sub utility.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. It is 100.
Okay.
Okay, I see here. It's 300 for grade 1, 250 for grade 2.
Yeah, it goes
200. Yeah, it goes down by 50. Okay, I know what I'm thinking of. It used to be a global cap of 1,000. But
yes.
now it's per thing. So that's, yeah.
Because the global cap made it impossible to do anything other than focusing on exactly one roll at a time.
Precisely, which was antithetical to the assertion that you could get materials passively by playing the game. Hey, by the way, do you know what has a global cap?
I don't know. Fucking Guardian shield points.
No, suit engineering.
Cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I'm guessing that's why we're not running around on the suit, other than the fact that you don't sign up to this game to play a shitty shooter.
We did a little bit of on foot last time when I was doing missions with Khaki on the line, and I was just like checking out crash sites and stuff. We did a little bit of on foot. I got good at combat because it turns out that it's the same. It's just the same.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember reading something that said Guardian sites were easier to handle on foot. Is that true or false?
I actually have no idea, but I'd be interested in finding out.
I guess if you run into one for whatever fucking reason, but if I remember right, it's that they don't understand what a person-sized object actually looks or moves like.
Maybe. It might be something like that. People in ships do have kind of a weird, like, in the same sense of, like, small hardpoints versus large ships, like ship classes. They have something fucking weird going on in that sense. Because you, like, as we have seen, you can't target just people in a ship.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah, and hitting them with ship weapons is possible, but deals reduced damage for some reason. They really just don't want you strafing people.
I mean, that's because, well, I mean, the Cynic Lancers, that might be fun. But,
Yeah.
I mean, it's because that stupid shit that happened when they first released the base missions, and you could do grade 5 hard round missions, which were a joke to begin with because you couldn't upgrade your fucking Scarab. So it was arbitrary difficulty based on your skill cap and or how many friends you could drag into the same instance, which was impossible.
Yeah.
So, but they had these grade 5 missions that were worth like 100,000 plus credits. You could get 6 of them, then go over there with seeker missiles and just run past the base at high speed, firing your missiles randomly, and then you would take it out on accident. Trigger 6 mission completions, make 500,000 credits in one trip.
Yeah, pretty much.
See, that one was I had fun doing that. They patched the seeker missile one. You can't get a lock on static objects, but they didn't patch dumbfires, so now it took a little bit of skill to do it. And then they added shrouds over everything.
Yeah, things are harder to get to generally. I believe you can still get dumbfire missile kills on like generators and things like that, but
you have to do the base layout, and with the anti-air weapons, you have to know what the base looks like before you approach it.
Precisely, or you need to shut off the generator first with your Scarab to get the anti-air defenses down, but then if you're going there to blow the generator anyway, what's the point?
Yeah, if you've taken out the generator's out. You've completed the mission.
Yeah, in that sense, like, I feel like mega ships are probably a better kind of like bite size. Here's some weird terrain to navigate, and here's some stuff on it that you can interact with. I just noticed I'm not getting elite observatory callouts, which is very strange. It probably broke and forgot my journal directory, so I need to fix that. Let me have a look-see at Elite Observatory. Why is this not working? Uh-huh. Alright, yeah, that's the journal path. It didn't forget it, I just had to reselect it for some reason. Alright, hang on, I need to change some very minor settings here. What do I actually want this thing to tell me about? Not this, not this, don't care about this, don't care about that. No, nope. No. Nah, don't care. Nope. Don't care about that either. Yeah, that'll do it. That's like 3 or 4 things. It'll alert me if there's like codex discoveries. Not that I care.
Frameshift drive charging.
The T7 is a space bus. Load the 5 or 6 slots with the first class seating, and you can get 54 businessmen or politicians who will pay $6 million plus for a 5-minute jump.
Yeah. Funny enough.
I've never been able to find a group of motherfuckers who want to go to the same place.
Yeah, no, they made that less common because people were making too much money.
Wish parts of this game were more fun than they were.
There's just nothing like the in-cockpit experience. There's nothing like it. Nothing does the game. No game does it like this one does.
No game sticks you in the cockpit, makes you feel like you're in a cockpit, and then makes you want to stay in that cockpit.
It makes you feel like you're operating machinery in the same way that like Truck Sim does.
Exactly. If you had this UI, if you had this cockpit design in another ship, they would stick the UI elements all over the goddamn place. You'd have fucking shit over at the top right, shit up in the top left. You'd have your little fucking, your speech would probably be down in the bottom left because whoever made it is MMO brain, which means that's completely useless 90% of the time because they're assuming you're going to be in multiplayer or something like that. The stupid planet thing would be in the middle, and then the rangefinder would be somewhere else. And it just doesn't, and none of it would feel real. It would be like, oh, it's AR space controls.
You can just say No Man's Sky.
I can, but I would rather call them out like this.
Fair enough.
And really, the thing that makes it work is that it's technically optimized for VR. I hope you can get down to Moon at some point, because I think VR would really up your enjoyment of this game if you could figure out how to stream it. Like, that's a whole different fucking can of worms, I'm guessing. But, the head look mode on this is fucking phenomenal. It improves so much, but especially the dogfighting in this game.
Yeah, I'd believe that. I had a head tracker once. In fact,
Yeah.
I think I still have it somewhere. I just don't care. It was pretty good for back when I was really into dogfighting, back before, you know, shield cell banks and engineering, back when you could, you know, take a Cobra and have a reasonable chance of being in some kind of fucking actual one-on-one fight with another player. I'm dancing around because I'm trying to think of a less.
There's no area in the game where you specifically would have done this. Is the problem, really?
No, I'm dancing around trying to say that we used to do stream sniping.
Well, that cat's out of the house now. So
Yeah, no, I decided to just pull the fucking band-aid off there. That was one of the things that we used to do back before Power Play and we moved home systems. We would stream snipe.
And to be fair, before Power Play, when there was nothing else to do in the game, 90% of streamers had their mouth open and were like, "Wow, game's so pretty," staring at like a star or something. So it was probably really easy and really funny.
Yeah, and because the power curve was not completely fucked yet, getting in a random scrap with another player who generally wasn't expecting you is not the instant death sentence it was. Plenty of people actually got away or managed to fight us off. Or sometimes you wind up where you get into a jousting fight and my Cobra loaded up with military armor cleaves their fucking ship in half.
It's so fucked up that you can't ram shit anymore. Not like that.
Nope, they broke that.
It's just what is the point of having a physics-based system if you're not going to take advantage of it in a stupid way? Where's the ramming module that makes just the front cone of your ship have like plus 80% armor?
Yeah, we were asking for like cow catchers and shit, but they weren't interested in doing that. I don't know.
Could you imagine the fucking offensive value of like a Viper 3 or Courier or Imperial Eagle that has some kind of nose cone plus damage proportional to max speed, as opposed to potential speed for the ship, but like your raw max speed?
Yeah.
Because you know FDev would not balance that shit correctly. They would have fucking balanced it and then put the enhanced engines in the game and go, oh shit, this exponentiates.
I mean, it's worse than that. The reason that ramming doesn't really work anymore is because of the multiplicative multiplayer damage bug thing that's been in the game since
they tried to add
since like, I don't know, late Horizons, I think it was.
It's when they tried to add multi-career. Yeah, it was on the old roadmap.
Yeah, when they start, because I think I again, as with many things that involve remembering things that happened more than about an hour ago, I may be completely talking out of my ass here, but I remember this being discovered because it affected SRVs first. If you have multiple players with SRVs in the same instance after this bug was introduced, any damage to vessels in that instance is multiplied by the number of players in the instance, because I don't know why. It seems like it'd be something that'd be easy to fix.
Yeah, but it doesn't apply to evenly. But it's
presumably it's because every single client is seeing that damage being applied, and then it's reporting that to the client that the damage is being applied to, but it's reporting all of them as individual hits, which again seems like it'd be something that'd be easy to fix.
Shut up, shut up, shut up. There's no way it works that way. Shut up. This is so bad. I
don't know if it works that way, but that seems like it works that way.
Every time I learn, I'm always thinking like, oh, maybe the game isn't as bad as I think it is, and then every time you bust out a new goddamn anecdote about how stupid the game is.
It's all because it's all because of the P2P shit, the peer-to-peer shit.
But it can't be. It shouldn't be that stupid.
I agree, it shouldn't be, and I hope it's not. I don't know what it is for sure, but that seems like what it is. Like, that's the only thing that would make sense to me for why damage would be multiplied by the number of players in an instance, because that's the number of clients in the instance. Anyway, to my knowledge, they never fixed that. They also, in their most recent post about future patch plans, they acknowledged a bunch of bugs, but they didn't acknowledge the rotational correction bug.
That's great.
Not even like in a sense of like, we acknowledge that this is happening, but we can't fix it yet. It's just they didn't even make any kind of nod towards it existing. For a second, I thought we got stuck in hyperspace. They're coming for me. They're trying to silence me.
Yeah, that's it. No, it's probably you just got fucking. The game was thinking about hyperdicting you and then changed its mind.
Nah, we're way out from where that might occur. I think. Are we? Where are we?
They keep making stupid shit happen, man. How do you know?
Oh yeah, no, we're a ways from pretty much anywhere.
It's a shame
Why
you
do I
never
have-
got hyperdicted.
Huh?
It's a shame you never got hyperdicted.
I dimly recall getting hyperdicted once or twice on stream.
I don't know. I never watch this fucking thing. I see it sometimes. I load you on in the background. I hang out.
I appreciate that. No, I think we did, but it was a while ago, back when I was trying to show off that you could feed Thargoids cargo. We spent like a long time jumping around trying to find them. I think that was one of the streams where I tried fighting some scouts in the Cobra and got completely shit mixed.
I do remember that one, actually.
That was an interesting stream.
You think Starfinder's gonna be good?
Think what?
Starfinder.
Sci-Fi Pathfinder? Wait, what? Isn't that out?
Like, what am I thinking of? Fucking...
Oh, you thinking of Starfield?
That's it.
Ah, Starfield and Friends. Fuck, I don't know.
I know Starfinder. Starfinder is the fucking Paizo alternative to Pathfinder. It's all right. If you want to play a D20 space game, it's not so bad. There's a lot of species. It's got some... It actually hits about the same tone we cemented on in the last space game you ran. It's settles on sort of the same kind of thing, where it's got like the universe does have magic and stuff in it, but mostly it's just it's a sci-fi thing, and nobody treats it like it's a whole issue. It's technically a continuation of Pathfinder's lore, but it's set in the far future in space.
Yeah, that's some interesting stuff. I was briefly caught off guard because I thought I was going insane. I thought that had already been out, and it is. But for a second, I thought you were like, "Oh, Starfinder isn't out yet." Like, wait, what? I've been ISO affected. Hey, wait a second. Starfinder is D20, right?
Yeah, it is.
Is that gonna get fucking wrecked by this OGL shit?
That's a good question. So the OGL thing is, and keep in mind that, and this is the first time I felt the need to discuss this because I've done a lot of research on it, but I am not a lawyer. I am definitely not a copyright lawyer. None of the lawyers I know are copyright lawyers, so they can't really speak to this. So this is all self-directed research. As near as I can figure, piecing together any of the think pieces that are not written by morons, the issue with the OGL thing is that is twofold. The first one is that the new variant of the OGL 1.1, is going to apply to all D&D products in the future. That one's not revocable, but it's also not really an issue. The new OGL will not be used in any of the previous stuff. There is some really interesting dialogue in it that would not probably hold up if they try to do it. For the big one is that if you play D&D, like if you play the new version of D&D in any capacity, you are now subject to the new OGL with anything you write.
Oh, so they're trying to do a EULA thing, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cute.
Got EULA style clauses in it, which is
That's cute. That's something to do when you're not evil.
Yeah, it's fantastic actually. Some of there've been some internal emails leaked. They are delaying the launch of the OGL specifically until this whole quit being evil thing blows over. So I would expect D&D to try to do something really cool in the next like 2 months, and then if that doesn't work, I would expect Hasbro to get very, very angry.
I'm gonna make a called shot.
Yeah.
Hang on, I can't make a called shot yet. I need to prepare.
You need more details. Yeah.
No. I don't need more details. One moment.
He needs to consult his crystal ball. Okay.
I do need to consult my crystal ball. Let me just park.
I feel like you can't call it a called shot if you're prognosticating. You just need to zoom in on your face. Okay, I see what you're talking about.
No. I have special preparations to make.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Also, BRB. I'll be back. Muster.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
All right, are you ready? Are you ready for me to prognosticate?
I am. I want to hear the future.
Okay, all right. Here we go. What they're going to do is they're going to hold off for about 6 months, possibly longer. And what they're going to do is they're going to let community content creators try to assuage people in the intervening time. People with whom they intend to pursue special contracts, like, I'm not going to name names.
Your Matt Mercer and your Griffin McElroy, I'll name names. Those kind of
Okay,
people.
yeah, you'll name names. Matt Mercer, Griffin McElroy, etc., that sort of thing. Anyone with whom they would pursue an individualized contract, they are going to allow them to soften the blow preemptively, to talk about how, oh, it wasn't that bad, actually. Maybe we overreacted. We're going to see a think piece in, like, I don't know, fucking Vice or Polygon or something, where someone's like, oh, we had a contract lawyer look at this, and it turns out it's actually totally normal. It's totally normal. It's their intellectual property, so really, I mean, it's fine. And then they're going to do it, and it's not going to be any different. And I'm going to tell you why I know this. I'm going to tell you why the fucking fates are speaking this knowledge into my brain, because of the statement they released. Did you read that?
Which statement?
Come to think of it, I don't remember if it was released or if it was a draft statement that leaked, because there's a fucking lot of stuff leaking. People are leaking everything.
Yeah. So the issue is that the OGL was a passion project from the early 2000s. My history earlier, when I last gave this, was wrong. First of all, the OGL was not continued for 4E, and part of the reason 4E failed was because they released it under a similar restricted license to what they were doing now.
Yep.
They also canceled all current content with their contractors who were doing licensed material, which is not otherwise covered under the OGL, and told them that they were going to have to make it for 4E.
Yeah. That was well, you go ahead, you tell.
Yeah, I mean, that's what caused them to pivot to Paizo, and there were other issues with 4E's launch. But essentially, the game was not the problem for 4E's launch. It was mostly how they handled their licensing and subcontractors.
Yeah, but Wizards of the Coast is happy to let people think that, oh, 4E was bad and was retracted because it was too MMO-y.
Yeah, you know, it's a whole
They made
thing.
a video game. You can't shout limbs back on. I don't know what this caricature I'm doing is.
I know you've seen David Prokopets before posting about it, but he posted 2 things about this one specifically, and there's one for 4E. The 4E transition is particularly interesting because he was around for the 3E transition, playing tabletop games too, and they said the same thing, only instead of World of Warcraft, the game they named was Diablo.
Yeah.
Which is really funny and really specific.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't remember. Wait, when did 3E come out?
3E was 2000, and then it was bad, and they made 3.5E, and that lasted longer.
Okay, yeah, I was not a tabletop guy at the time. I was later. Like,
Yeah.
I got into that around like 2007-ish.
So third edition was 2000, and then third edition was changed over to 3.5 in 2003, which corrected a lot of shit.
Right.
It was 3E is the biggest change D&D's ever done. 2E is not recognizable as a D&D anymore.
It's very different, yeah.
Yeah. Then 4th edition came out in 2008, and that was succeeded by 5th edition in 2014 after essentially failing in 2010 and being put in abeyance for a while. 4E was also the... it's interesting looking at this playbook, because this is the part where I was starting to follow this, and I was big into the Chans at the time, so I fell for the initial narrative, but a lot of this stuff was like... This is the same playbook. Like, 4E was supposed to launch alongside a digital subscription service. The reason that there are no 4E PDFs that are easy to access online is because there was a leak of a 4th edition playtest manual, and it never got... And there was a leak of the 4th edition playtest manual. They tried to monetize the rules, so you couldn't just read the rules, and with their OGL license, you couldn't get them reproduced, so there was no legal hosting. So, combined with that, that's why nobody heard of fucking 4E D&D. You had to go buy the actual books.
Yeah, this is why the primary source for most people who speak authoritatively about games like this, the primary source is grognards complaining that it was too much like a video game, rather than the game itself, because you can't fucking read it. Like, the Trove is gone. Where else are you going to find a PDF of 4E?
4E was really good.
4E was, like... I know it has some issues, and I am not in a state to articulate any of them, but it was a really interesting game. I would love to play it at some point.
If you wanted to play a D&D combat game, and you wanted to move your little man around the grid and do combat, you want to play Lancer. But if you didn't want to play Lancer, then 4th edition D&D is the best one to do for that, because it has the most... It's balanced around being a combat game first, and role game second.
Yeah, it's balanced around... They took a look at what D&D is actually used for, and were like, hey, maybe the game should be good at this, instead of just kind of dog shit at everything.
And, I mean, the thing that pissed grognards off was that they could no longer be wizard machine gods. So...
Oh yeah, caster supremacy. That was a big one.
Codzilla? Jesus. That's a phrase I haven't thought of. So, the OGL. So, that's the first part of the OGL. So, the new OGL is under these more restrictive licensing terms. Anything going forward, it has to apply to them, and it is going to work with all the new editions of D&D from this point forward, according to the draft. In addition, we know that this draft has been verified by lawyers, at the very least at Kickstarter, which I don't know why they're involved, but they had to do some kind of research for,
presumably because for crowdfunding third-party material, they would have to be in charge of adjudicating whatever cut Wizards gets.
That's probably accurate, yeah. The other big thing with the old OGL is that the new version of the OGL is that there are regimented cuts based on gross income, and essentially it destroys your ability to market, to make money doing it.
Yep.
The cut that they take if you make over a certain amount, which is a very relatively low amounts for successful products. Like the first tier of this, where they start taking money, is 25,000.
It is laser targeted for anyone who is either A, crowdfunding, or B, has employees, like, for publishing things. Laser fucking targeted. They do not want Paizo 2.0 happening, nor do they want anyone to successfully crowdfund something.
But the thing is that the margin on the industry is average 10%. It is not a high money industry, and the minimum that they could be taking is like 25% of the gross, which means now it costs money to publish stuff under the OGL.
Yep.
Unless the thing is fantastically successful. The other bit that it can do is that at any point, regardless of if you've made money on it or not, they can take anything that you've written under the OGL and reproduce it without needing to give there was no clause about not needing to attribute, but they don't need to pay you for anything they make over it.
This is correct, yes. I have seen people defend this as more or less the same clause that like social media sites have, where it's like, oh, well, for one D&D, their online platform, they have to be able to transmit and copy things, and that's what that language means. No, it fucking doesn't. No, it fucking doesn't. No, it fucking doesn't.
First of all, it doesn't because you don't need this, but more saliently, that's not how that works.
Yeah, that's
Like,
extremely not how that works.
There is no similar clause in the terms of use for Roll20. It's not how it works.
There is if you have no reading comprehension.
Yeah, but no, this is specifically about licensing, publishing, and that kind of... Anyway, so the point is they want to be the only source for D&D material. Now, the part where this gets legally dodgy, and the thing that's fucking everybody up here, is that Wizards claims, and keep in mind, Wizards has not made an official press release on the new OGL. They have
it must have been a leak then.
They have leaked internal documents, and they have... Some people have responded to the controversy by saying it's not like a current legal document, but it has been confirmed by all external sources. So this is something that is happening, and they are not going to look at abandoning. Hasbro thinks the brand is under-monetized, and that the OGL is their way to, well, I mean, to burn the future for the sake of making a few bucks today. But they believe that the new
same as it ever was.
The clause under use for the new OGL means that anybody who publishes anything under the old OGL is now subject to the new OGL. And that is a lot more legally thorny. The old OGL had specifically in perpetuity non-competition clauses that said this cannot be revoked for any reason. And that's the bit where it's like the fact that I'm not an arbitrage lawyer starts to fall down. But essentially, the OGL's original incarnation was you are allowed, the only thing it legally allowed you to do that you weren't technically allowed to do already is reproduce exact rules text. Essentially, if you wanted to take, the idea of a D20 game is not copyrightable. You can't say, like, rolling a D20 and then adding a number is not possible. But certain aspects of the arrangement are copyrightable, like how you do the stats, like what are the stats called, how do you do the numbering on that. So like the fact that you have a stat that goes between -3 and 20, and 3 means you're functionally useless and 20 means you got that, and then a 20 is a +5 and a 3 is a -4 or something like that, those are technically copyrightable elements of their stuff. Although you would have to, if that came up, you would have to prove in court that you took it from D&D, which is a whole different bag of worms that I don't want to get into. But essentially, what the OGL does is it protects you, it allows you to copy the exact text of any D&D rules document, and it allows you to, it delineates things that they will not sue over. So they can't sue over generic things like that. And they allow you to build off of their game. The original intent for this was twofold. The people who published the original OGL, the ones who drafted it and wrote it, the content creators who worked for Wizards of the Coast, who wanted D&D to be a game that was fun, built this because they were building on the relatively new copyleft movement that was happening in the early 2000s. All the Linux guys and the fucking all the publishers at the time. I mean, everybody that still liked Cory Doctorow, that whole thing.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So I don't even know what the fuck happened to that guy. Like,
he kind of just became annoying. I think what happened was that what fucking book was that? Ernest Cline wrote him in as the vice president in Ready Player One, and everyone just kind of looked at that and realized, actually, you know what? I'm kind of sick of this guy.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
He's transitioned eternally into heartbreaking, the most annoying person you know, just made a great point status.
But back when we were all fuck yeah science and believing in the power of nerds over the dumb jocks, Cory Doctorow was the man to beat, and he was the big blog guy, he was the big way of the future guy, and he was the copyleft guy, and they were following the tenets of that movement. So it is written in such a way as to work as a copyleft for a much larger product than had gone before. And a lot of the reason people used it, like the reason that Fate and Fudge are published under an OGL license as opposed to their own license, because it's not owned by Wizards of the Coast in any fucking capacity, is because they wanted to promote the use of this license. The way it was sold to the executives at Wizards of the Coast and kept on after the Hasbro acquisition, which happened in 2005-ish, is because when Wizards of the Coast was bought out wholesale by Hasbro. Not it wasn't just D&D that got bought.
Yeah.
So, the way they sold it to the Wizards of the Coast executives at the time, and the way they continued to sell it, is essentially you don't make money on little supplements. You make a little bit of money, but the amount you have to pay the experienced freelancers who write them and the other guys you have on farm is more expensive and more costly and more time intensive when you could be having those guys build larger and more intensive splat books. Like you get instead of publishing 6, like an adventure for levels 1 to 3 modules per year, you could have this guy work on a 200-page Adventurer's Guide to Brumpus or something like that. And the thing is that you print a hardcover Adventurer's Guide to Brumpus and it sells for $60 each and everybody buys it. As opposed to a little fucking 10-page adventure pamphlet that sells for $5 at the time.
Yeah, precisely.
It's 10 if it's got a little pull-out map or something like that, and it's just you don't make any raw profit off of it because the printing costs come out to most of the money.
Mm-hmm.
So their idea was, if you do this, you can devote way more resources to making the big shit, and you don't have to make nearly as much of that small shit anymore, because people are gonna make that small shit. It happened the entire time that TSR owned the company. It happened all throughout 1 and 2E. From AD&D on, everybody was making this shit, even before the licenses. I mean, hell, TSR basically went bankrupt fighting people who did this. Like, the reason that the OGL was there to protect everybody involved, and to stop wasting your own time on shit that was going to get made anyway. Because if you keep wasting your money on pointless court cases about people who are essentially promoting your game, that's how you get competitor games. So, we didn't learn that lesson completely, but so the intent behind the old OGL was that it was sold to those guys as this will make you more money in the long run, and they didn't like that. It doesn't fit with how the business model seems to work in their head, what they think they're doing. They think they should be able to have their cake and eat it too.
Well, it worked for a while. It was basically the bit at the end of the fucking movie where they give the big speech to the old fuddy-duddies, and they're like, well, when you explain it like that, youngster, it makes a lot of sense. We're not gonna bulldoze the rec center or whatever. But then, instead of the movie ending, it just kept happening, and then the guys that made the speech left, and the old guys are still fucking there. And they're like, yeah, but what if we had that money too also? What if number go up?
There's this concept in economics called externalities, and a lot of shit happened that makes some of those significant. The cost of raw printing in 2000, when they sold them on this, was very, very cheap, relatively speaking. Mm-hmm. Like, the reason you had so many imitators was partly because everybody wanted to play D&D, and so this seemed like a good idea to unify it under the D20 rule set so that everybody could play the same game. Like, the intent was, that was when you had GURPS. That was the age of GURPS and D20 Modern and everything like that. You could play any game you wanted as long as it was a D20 plus a number resolution.
I had the D20 conversion of Call of Cthulhu.
I'm sorry.
They had stats for all of the Elder Gods that were compatible with D&D.
Yes,
and it was you remember the big section where it was like, hey, these aren't for use in this game since it will just kill an investigator, but if y'all have 20th level D&D characters, what if you fought Yog-Sothoth? I think it would go a little like this. And that's fun.
Yog-Sothoth opens by using his spell-like ability. Oh, shut the fuck up.
See, the thing is, that's stupid, but it's fun. It's fun.
Yog-Sothoth drives 1d8 investigators completely and irrevocably insane per round, and then flays the skin of 150 cultists. If your guys are still around after 6 seconds, they deserve what they get. So
I remember, I dimly recall Cthulhu having a specific weakness to boats.
Yeah, because they were trying to tie in the dumbass video game. I remember.
No, because in the original story, they hit him with a boat and he goes back to sleep. So, he takes double damage from boats or maritime vessels or something. I have dim recollections of this. I may be completely making it up.
Why he live in the ocean, then?
Ask August Derleth that.
Okay, I don't care anymore. So that was the intent behind the OGL, but they've always tried to slip past that. 4E's failure was at least in part because of this OGL debacle. They tried to get more money from their ancillary publishers who were doing their licensed publishing, which has been a different thing, but it's under the OGL, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
it's like, so, I mean, that's not true. The licensed stuff is theoretically under the OGL, but I mean, you have people like R.A. Salvador writing Drizzt Do'Urden novels. That's not covered under the OGL. You can't copy that stuff. But if there's a Drizzt adventure path, that is covered under the OGL because you could copy like the weapons and equipment out of it. You understand how complicated this shit gets? How quickly? Like,
I mean, the actual questions of it are complicated. The simple part is that it, as always, comes down to a bunch of old fucks in a room somewhere being like, why do we only have most of the money? What if we had all of the money instead?
yeah, but the
El
nuance.
problema es el capitalismo.
The nuance is interesting to me though because it's very much like essentially like D&D right now is in the best place it's been since about 2007.
Yeah.
And that was when they were publishing all kinds of shit. Their costs have never been lower. People are making content out the ass for D&D.
Yeah.
And the only thing they've published in the last like 8 years have been little fucking dipsy doodle novels and an adventurer's guide to playing Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
They are, their costs are beyond basement level, and I don't know, like it's. Oh right, I mentioned externalities. The thing that happened in 2008 is that the price of printing went up astra-fucking-nomically when the economy tanked. So, when their new OGL dropped and they told their guys they need to either publish under their new restrictive license for 4E or they can hit the highway and lose their license, they all jumped ship to Paizo. And Paizo was essentially just in a position to be doing what they were doing. Paizo was the one that, around that time, was like, well, fuck you, we'll just keep making 3.5e because these things are covered under the OGL. So the interesting thing about that is that 4E did its book release, a very expensive book release. It was supposed to have an online component as well, but there was a major leak that happened right before that, and the old money men decided that that was enough. We leaked the source book, we can't have this anymore, shut down the online components. Now, the leak was not from any kind of online component. And as a result of this, their online shit that they had commissioned the guy to ended up being badly mistimed because he was focusing on a lot of stuff, on a lot of other factors because of how confusing the order had gotten. So they didn't have an online way to buy a source book, and there were no other online PDF distributions at the time. Nothing, not even like a heavy DRM version. They were trying to make this same thing that they made now, this one D&D. That's always been the dream for this. And they fucked it up back then so badly that they almost took the whole department under. There were other factors to this, but like essentially they didn't have an online component for 2 years while Pathfinder and fucking 4chan of all places continued selling people on the idea that you should just keep playing 3.5 because we're making better shit. And that's what tanked the edition more than anything. They had continual publishing until they finally pulled their heads out of their asses in like 2012, which was, again, 4 years after the launch of 4E. And we're like, oh, fuck, we need to start reacting to comments online, and then ran straight into a ditch. They released a bunch of materials that had rules that they would later recycle for 5th edition. They changed the level progression and stuff, and they made classes work more like they did in 3.5. Now, the problem was that this pissed off everybody, because it was still not 3.5 enough for anybody who wanted to play 3.5. And now you had a bunch of rules that were not actually compatible with 4th edition. So you had to either completely change everything over to these new books that were they only managed to release 3 of them before it came out, before they fucking finally decided to kill it. Or you have to, you just play unsupported 4E now with old material. I'm still convinced it was the best version of the game they had ever gotten, but some of that is just the fact that they just didn't have a lot of material for it. I've become more and more convinced that 5th edition is
like they just didn't have an opportunity to ruin it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they had a more complete publishing schedule. Like, the real weird thing about 5th edition is that 5th edition has the least number of official supplements of any D&D edition. Period. Fucking literally, basic D&D has more publishing, more things published than fucking D&D, Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, the game that everybody plays. Only has like a low double-digit number of official supplements. If you don't count their free PDFs online for fucking, what is it? Something. Unearthed Arcana. If you don't count their Unearthed Arcana, which you shouldn't because it's not really published material.
Yeah.
It is almost exclusively actually playtest material for stuff that they ended up releasing later. They've only got like 17 books total.
That is weirdly low. You'd think with the sheer amount of saturation they have, there would be more than that.
Well, I mean, it's just like what you said. They're extracting money out of the market. People are paying to play this game. I ran across a fucking Pokemon rules supplement. I was looking for so we played D&D, and we started playing D&D in the other server. We're playing Warcraft as a conversion. When I was looking for something the other day, I was trying to find it again. I ran into a completely different Warcraft conversion. People are making shit for free.
There was a podcast that I tried listening to once where they, instead of playing the official Star Trek tabletop RPG, Star Trek Adventures, they played a version of 5e that was hacked to be Star Trek. Like, I thought this was before Star Trek Adventures came out, but I looked it up, and no, I was out.
Yeah.
They just didn't want to play it. They wanted to play fucking D&D.
Now,
Let me tell you, it didn't work.
The only advantage of D&D is that if you understand what you're doing with the system, you can bounce. But you have to understand what you're doing with the system, and you have to understand its limitations. Like, I have been extremely vocal about my attempt as a DM to make this shit work, and it's baffling to me that they want you to play this online, because I cannot think of another game that is less suited to playing fucking online. It's tedious. It's irritating. It's constant. Every D20 game is constant back and forth. You want fast adjudication, simple rolls against target numbers. You don't need this fucking, okay, what's your modifier to hit? Okay, which target are you picking? Okay, what action are you taking now? You know, it's just, especially the way we play with play by post, but like even in speech, I mean, how are you supposed to handle all of this without fucking 5 minutes of decision per rolls? And it's always been a problem with D&D.
Absolutely, yeah.
Very, very bad in 5th edition because of how needlessly complicated a lot of the shit is. You have a bunch of sub-rules that you're expected to learn as opposed to having a couple of basic concepts that you can keep in your head for, like, what can your character do? And you gotta have all those rules ready to reference. You gotta have all that material in your hand. I know that if anybody else is in this chat, I've probably fucking managed to find a goddamn D&D defender, but, like, it's upsetting that this is the only role-playing. What is actually upsetting to me is that I don't immediately have a better fantasy recommendation on hand. I just don't have time to be looking at stuff like that. And also, none of my friends really like fantasy, so I know you're a space guy.
I'm a space guy, yeah.
And you've got, like, 2 or 3 recommendations for games you either tried or wanted to try for space or for mecha, just on hand, not counting the one that you made yourself, you know? Which was Cortex, before that was cool.
Hey, speaking of shooting yourself in the foot trying to create a walled garden so that no one can download PDFs.
Yeah, no, it's
have fun being fucking attached to the golden titties of fandom guy whose name I can't remember.
Fandom decided not to launch it, and now Fandom is fucking hemorrhaging wikis as people realize that Fandom wikis are rapidly becoming completely fucking unusable.
Wait, they didn't launch Cortex?
That's the last thing I heard about it, is that they fucking decided they're still holding on to it. They're still developing it. It's been like 8 years. They haven't put out their fucking new Cortex rules yet. They've just held on to the IP and continued selling the old books.
Oh my god, I thought it was out in some form. Wow, that's fucked.
That was well, we checked.
Now no one gets to have fun.
We checked up on this like a year ago, didn't we? Because we were talking about County not too long ago, and it's like I haven't double checked. I mean,
I looked into it. And it was like oh, we're just about to release the online version of the player guide or whatever, and there's no PDFs, and this will be the only way to do it. And I remember reading it and seeing less hate for fandom than I was expecting, and I found it depressing.
Okay,
so they just never released it, huh?
Okay, no, you can buy one. I'm trying to find the release date for this. $50? Oh, for the $25 for a digital book? Come the fuck on, man.
Good lord.
So the thing about Cortex, the reason I never really cared about this is because I think Cortex is kind of a dog shit system.
Yeah, no.
It's fine if you want fast resolution and you want to customize your skills in a D&D-esque way while also having the freeform, floaty nature of Fate. but it ends up doing both systems worse.
Yeah, no, it has quicker resolution, but I think the trade-off is that it has longer setup, and it basically just comes out to the same thing. Like, Scooter runs a thing using Cortex, older style Cortex, but more or less the same mechanic of having, like, die sizes instead of, like, flat skill bonuses, and he'll ask him about how combat goes in that. Ask him about how any interaction goes in that. It takes forever.
Yeah, no, and it's just, I mean, specifically the tiered dice and like you need to have your whole character sheet open at any time to figure out what any kind of resolution are, because at any point you could have picked up an arbitrary skill level that increases your dice stage, which is fucking deranged.
Yeah, no, back when I was in that game, we had custom character sheets in Google Sheets that were made by a player that automatically calculated everything, because otherwise it would be unplayable.
I've seen them, and it's like, especially because the game ran for fucking 20 years now. So, not 20. You guys have been playing this fucking game. Excuse me, you quit, but the rest of you guys have been playing this game for fucking 13 or 14 years at this stage.
Yeah.
It is that old.
I was in that game back when I still worked at the car exhaust warehouse.
Wow.
I said that like it's a warehouse that stores car exhaust. When I was still working at the automotive warehouse.
Car exhaust.
Yeah, you know, the car exhaust warehouse.
Environmental damage to release at a later date.
Yeah, they were doing carbon sequestration by just running cars inside the warehouse and trapping it all inside.
Really hard to breathe in there.
It was very hard to breathe in there, but, you know, we persisted because we were doing a good thing for the environment.
Oh, man.
And, you know, then it got bought out, and they came in and they opened the doors and let it all out, and it was
So that's why
shame. You hate to see it.
Who's in chat with us?
Oh, hell, I don't know.
Khaki. Hi, Khaki.
Hi.
Ah, hello. Welcome.
We were talking about the OGL. I was filling it in.
I'm aware.
Okay.
I don't think you all have any idea how long I've actually been in here, do you?
Probably not, no. I don't hear the sounds when people come in.
I heard you bingle about 10 minutes ago. I don't know if you unmuted or because something else happened.
No, I've just been sitting here unmuted eating a salad. I just haven't said anything.
Okay.
Carry on.
But no, I mean, well, I finished the thought. It's stupid. The legal basis for the second part of this, the extension of the OGL to continue old products, that is a lot more spurious, and if they trigger that, it's probably going to cause a lawsuit. But the other issue is that a lot of the games that would have been under those licenses are either not in active publication or have moved on to the point where they no longer actually use some of those materials. So they could publish under a new license and just move on. Like, Pathfinder 2nd Edition is not published under the Open Game license. And Pathfinder 2nd Edition is what they're doing all their publications in right now, as I understand it. So while Pathfinder 1.0 is under the OGL, and that might cover some of their previous material, like their video games, it's also a thornier issue as to which version of the OGL is covered, because the original OGL allowed these things into perpetuity. You should not have been able to change that license because nobody is collecting income on the products that they based their material on. It was based on the OGL license for D&D 3rd edition, which has been out of print since 2008. So it's a little silly to try to be collecting the income, but it's going to go to court more likely than not.
Yeah, because they're stupid.
Yeah, no. If they were smart, they would just back down. They would just fucking back down. They would fucking wimp out like they did last time. But they're not going to do it.
I mean, they're not.
This is the thing that always gets me about these kinds of companies, where the entirety of their, money-making strategy is built on these very specific communities that share a lot of shit with one another for free. They constantly try to invent all these money-making schemes, and how do I suck the income out of these fools who play my video game property that I should be collecting rent on. And I swear to God, I mean this when I say this.
No,
they could just ask. I'm almost certain the majority of people who play Dungeons and Dragons would literally start fielding them ideas of what they would be willing to pay for.
Wrong. You're misunderstanding what we all say when we say well, maybe everybody is, when the problema is capitalismo. The issue is not that there are D&D guys who are publishing this who suddenly decide that they're not paid enough and they need more money to make this. The D&D writing team are paid about what they're worth for writers in the industry.
Yeah.
Somewhat better. They like making the game. They're passionate about it. They enjoy playing D&D. Mike Merles, the current director of D&D, who is solidly mediocre, was recruited from the fucking Space Battle forums, if you know what that is. From
I do not.
2002.
I regret to inform you I know what the Space Battle forums are.
Yeah, he moved from that to the actual D&D forums and had been posting homebrew there since 2004. He's deeply passionate about D&D. He put in a lot of shit that he enjoys about the game within the constraints of what they want to publish. The issue is not D&D.
The issue is nobody's for anyone who hears Mike Merle's name and lets out a raspy hiss. The issue was never his like industry bona fides. He's just a piece of shit separate from that.
Right. I mean, it's just he's well, I mean, I said where he came from. He's from the Space Battle forums, which was just like a place where you could register your 4chan persona and then continue being that person. It's basically PG at this point since they removed it. So like, God, I feel like I'm 600 years old saying these things. I know Khaki has no context for this. PG is the traditional games board on 4chan.com. It used to be the place to go to get homebrew or campaign ideas if you were playing any kind of role-playing a game. Period. Because it followed the genuine ideal around the founding of 4chan and was a little bit. It was a little better about Nazis back then, in the sense that it had no more Nazis than the rest of the internet, which was a lot of Nazis, but less than they have now.
They mostly had crypto-fascists instead of regular fascists.
Yeah, they didn't really go mask off until about 2012.
I love that.
But that's kind of where the industry was at. The issue is more the people who own these companies, the people who own Hasbro, and the stockholders that actually own Hasbro don't care what they're running. Not in a concrete sense. The fact that Hasbro sells toys and games and also runs Magic the Gathering through their subsidiary it essentially doesn't matter. They are wondering why they don't have complete market domination in their chosen subfield. And when they see competitors, they see red. They want to extract the maximum amount of value over the company assets that they own. They do not care what they are making. And I need to stress this again. They do not care what they are making. Everything about this, the fact that they can't achieve this, has to do with the fact that they don't care what they're making. Because if they did care about what they're making, there are way more intelligent ways to monetize this.
Yeah, no, they're just upset that they have most of the money instead of all of the money.
Yes, and it's I know I argued against this earlier with the nuance, but it's because the nuance of the legalese is different from the nuance of the goals of any given company is to extract all the possible value out of everything. It is why everything is trending down towards this single Disney-tipped spearhead in the world. Disney doesn't care that their Marvel movies are bad. The filmmakers that they hire kind of care that it's bad, but they have balm for the soul in the form of infinite Disney dollars, which makes them not want to care about this. But then
that fucking reminds me. Finish your thought. Go ahead.
No,
I have never heard Cal that excited in my fucking life.
Yeah, now I want to hear
excited. Oh boy. Oh friend. Oh pal of mine. Oh, the talk of Disney reminded me of the leaked memo from earlier that I mentioned that I had read, and I had seen some of the language in it. They toyed with the idea of releasing a comment on the leaked OGL proposal by releasing a press release that included things like the phrase, "It takes a multiverse." It takes a multiverse to make a game, and we understand the role of content creators. Multiverse. Interesting. That's an interesting choice of words. Because every fucking thing, everything is the MCU now. Everything is.
So I talked about 5e earlier. Do you want to know what the last 2 of the last 3 product releases they did for 5e, and keep in mind, like I said, it's only like 17 or some odd books.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Official full-sized hardcover supplements, which, as I told you way back in 2000, those are the ones that make money, right? So they're not publishing any smaller ones, and they're taking forever to shit these things out. They used to do one of these a month. The last 2 supplements they've done, the last 2 major supplements, have been crossovers with Magic the Gathering. They have been Magic the Gathering setting source books. They are just dipping out of the same pool. They're reaching over and grabbing stuff out of Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, they noticed every other company doing crossovers, and they're like, what if we also injected 5% Ready Player One into this?
And the problem is that Magic the Gathering is not exactly the most compelling, and it's definitely not the most fucking accessible setting.
I don't understand it, but there's people who swear by that shit. They swear that there's lore and a meta plot and characters, and I don't understand it. It's like people trying to explain to me about the lore of Valorant. I don't get it. I believe you that it's there, but I don't understand it.
Like, I don't. Where is it?
I unfortunately think I can understand it as somebody who played Yu-Gi-Oh growing up, and I know
First, because Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't actually have settings that are
Well, yeah,
delineated.
there's a story that Yu-Gi-Oh is played in, but Yu-Gi-Oh itself, the game.
That's not what I mean. Every single archetype has an ongoing story behind it.
Oh, right. Yeah, we're talking about like the sequential cards, right?
Not
Okay.
even that. So, Magic the Gathering has places. It will create a setting, and then their characters, the Planeswalkers, can move between those settings and then interact with the people in them.
Oh,
So-
that's stupid.
Well, let me fucking finish the sentence, okay? So the settings are self-contained, and the Planeswalkers mostly exist to fucking protect the universe or whatever. So they're not really important to the story. So you go to a setting called Zendikar, and Zendikar is a big walled city, and it has 5 different factions for each of the 5 colors of card. They would be the equivalent to Yu-Gi-Oh types, but they're more important. And then you would have certain sub-factions that might have crossovers, you would have characters that would be neutral, that kind of stuff, and it would all be told as one largely cohesive story that you would then learn tie-in material. Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't do that. When Yu-Gi-Oh releases a new card line, they just exist, and they have lore that is entirely self-contained and has no connection to anything except when it does. You want to know what the different dimension soldiers have to do with the fucking dragon maids? Fuck you. They're in the deck. It doesn't matter.
Correct. Unless the two archetypes are in a card somewhere, there's nothing. Shut up. And even then, who knows? Maybe it doesn't actually matter.
They haven't done Yu-Gi-Oh is literally, if Magic the Gathering is puzzling out stuff from a Rosetta Stone and trying to figure out the lore like that, Yu-Gi-Oh is attempting to figure out Sumerian culture from the scribblings of a bathroom stall. It is completely fucking impenetrable.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Anyways.
Okay.
But the thing is,
Continue, but one of the games I found on itch I just opened by accident while looking for a different one. This fucks.
Oh, really? Tell us
Oh
more.
my god. This owns. It's
how
the side
are we
answer
going?
one.
How long have we been on this course? I just now noticed we haven't done a jump in like 30 minutes.
We've been traveling for a while.
Oh man. And here's another thing about Elite. Why the fuck doesn't it tell you the actual time? The ship should know you're accelerating. Like
There really should be an estimated time of arrival. Yeah, I don't know why there isn't.
It has a screen there. It tells you you've got 1:50 to reach it at your current speed, except you're going to slow down before you hit
Yeah,
it.
that's the thing. It's based on your current speed, which is constantly changing. So there is technically an estimated time of arrival, but the estimated time of arrival varies depending on your speed. So I don't understand why it's there. Rather, as opposed to like another, like when you get to the 7-second mark, optimal approach vector or whatever, why it isn't just an alignment thing like the screen on that side, and then they could use that timer to be an actual timer. I don't know. I don't know.
It's because it's easy to program, and the differential equation to figure out your rate of acceleration versus an actual time of arrival is complicated. And by
I
complicated, I mean
guess.
it's not that fucking complicated, because the rate of acceleration is completely linear in all circumstances. It's based on your current throttle, plus the distance to the object, plus the size of the mass near the object. This is all known quantities. The game knows it all, because it's calculating it all, because it's doing it.
Yeah, it's
Why
doing it
does
right now.
I don't know. You guys are having a miserable time back there, it seems, and I'm just Oh my god, I'm fucking vibing.
I really am is the thing. Khaki, this stream started by me finally having enough materials to buy the pre-engineered FSD I wanted, except I found out that you can't get it anymore. You can only get size 5. You can't get size 4 anymore. It's not in the game. You can't get it. It's only from a CG. Does not exist anymore. That's how this started. So I'm
so
having a
sorry,
bad
sir.
time. I'm having a bad evening.
I'm so sorry. I think you would have a lot more fun if you were playing Cyberlancer right now. I sure am. My day felt like shit up until like 3 minutes ago.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm a simulator dad now. I need to be playing games where I operate some kind of heavy machinery.
This is a game where you operate some kind of heavy machinery.
It's not a simulator, though. It's not a simulator.
Listen, it's just not a first-person experience simulator. This is absolutely a mech pilot simulator. Come on.
I need to be able to sit inside the heavy machinery and operate it from a control panel of some manner. Like I'm waiting for what did they fucking change it? No. I'm waiting for what did they change the name to? I think they call it Lightyear Frontier now. It's the farming game where you're in a mech.
See, that just sounds beautiful.
Yeah, when that's out, I'm never gonna play anything else.
Hell yeah.
But it's not out yet. I don't know how far away it is.
Oh my god.
The real game Cow's waiting for is Space Station Exojanitor 3.
Yes. Yeah, I would play that. I would play a game where I just perform a mundane task in space.
Cal wants.
And I know what everyone watching this VOD is thinking. You're thinking, "Oh, that's just X. That's just the X series." No, it's not. The X series doesn't function unless you become a fucking trillionaire industry magnate. The games don't function at that other level because if you don't do that, it doesn't work. Like, you're the fucking bad guys take over everything, or like the simulation just breaks down.
The simulation breaks, you say?
What was the name of the big bad aliens in the earlier X games? I remember it being very funny.
Like XCOM?
No, not XCOM. There is a series of space economic simulators made by a company called Egosoft. They are extremely European. I don't remember... what was the name of the big bad aliens? It was very funny, is why I'm remembering it. There's a cutscene that plays at the beginning of one of them that had me laughing so hard I started to pass out.
Oh, I have a rocket. As in like a jetpack. Oh.
Nice.
Okay, I have a list of all of the sentient species in the X race according to Wikipedia.
All
We
right.
have the humans, which are Argon, Goner, and Terran. We have the Boron, squid-like alien race who revere their queen and love space. We have the Paranid, three eyes, have an emperor.
Okay.
They just fight.
Oh, yeah.
Teladi, a race that worships trade and profits. Xenon, and a self-replicating artificial intelligence. And the thing I think you want, a bug-like alien race that started the war with the Argon in X2 The Threat, called the CAC.
Yes! That was it! That was the one! Because they don't pronounce it like that. They pronounce it the cock.
K-H-A-A-K.
Yeah, what you need to do right now, you said that was X2 The Threat. What you need to do right now is you need to go on YouTube and you need to look up opening cutscene X2 The Threat right now.
Okay.
All right.
Do I need to leave the sound on? I know I leak sometimes.
I don't know. Play it. Follow your heart.
Oh my god, that was really fun. That owned. I'm sorry. That ruled. Okay. Okay. We're back on track. Oh my god.
Oh, this is what year is this from?
Oh, I don't even remember.
This is very combat evolved. Okay. Here we go.
Oh no.
Registration confirmed.
That's the one. I hope this gets copyright stricken somehow. I hope your VOD gets silenced because I'm fucking playing X2 the Threats intro.
Is it like the news story one?
No, it's not a news story.
This might not be the one I'm thinking of. What are they doing?
Paging.
Fucking bindings are messed up.
I don't know. I'll watch this after. I'm not. It's not a newsreel
It's the newsreel that has the one.
because they just say the cock completely unironically.
They say it like a million times.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Hey, are you sure? Mouse 1 is currently bound to primary fire. Do you want to rebind it to primary fire?
I hate this fucking game.
Mouse 2 is currently bound to secondary fire. Do you want to rebind it to secondary fire? I'm gonna fucking lose it. I'm this close to just ending the game and just looking up that video right now. I'm so close to just doing that.
Oh.
You want to tell
What?
us about the cock?
I would love to tell you about the cock. There we go.
I want to tell you about Henry. Ugh.
Oog.
Listen, I've sent you the key files. If you want to see something that won't make you immediately upset.
No, I'm only angry now. Henry! Henry, the boy! It's him! He speaks!
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Our
He
beautiful
is one of-
boy.
He likes going across the room and yowling at me because I closed the door because stray cats were coming in and eating his food. And I don't like it when there's stray cats in my house because they shit on the fucking floor.
Oh, that's so rude of them. Henry, you should instruct
litter
your...
box, man. Come on.
You know, I was always under the impression that litter boxes were so intuitive that generally cats just kind of get them.
Cats like burying their shit, but the thing is they don't like burying their shit next to other cats.
Oh, that'll do it. Yeah, you only get that with cats that have lived together for a very long time.
Or who have been housebroken in, yeah, like if there's no other option. But like the recommended, the big fucking cat whisperers are always like, you need one litter box per cat, and they can't be in the same place. Yeah, because I'd like to make my whole apartment smell like fucking ammonia and cat shit.
Hmm.
It only smells like ammonia if you don't clean it out right away, but it takes less than a week, so
Yeah.
I don't clean that fucking thing every day. It's a bad habit. I need to clean your little box every day, Henry, but it stinks up my whole apartment when I do, so it's a trade-off. Life's a balance. I don't want to use that many trash bags. They're bad for the environment.
I don't think this is being captured, but I'm using a navigation utility.
No, it's not being captured.
It's
Oh, wow.
very intuitive. It's really cool. I have a little heading indicator on the screen right now.
Yeah, I don't think I see that.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's being captured.
Henry, what are you doing?
It is reading my latitude and longitude. And it is reading off directions. That's pretty cool. Sometimes people make neat things for this game.
Sometimes people make neat
Didn't they
things.
used to have a whole voice control thing that could do everything for you?
Oh, people swear by voice attack. I don't understand it personally.
I'm sure it's intuitive if you're like a loser who has a full setup and you want to.
See, the thing is the idea of being like, computer, extend hard points or whatever. That's neat if you're like flying a space battleship or whatever, but like 900% of the time, anything you want to do is done better by just pressing a key or flipping a switch. That's just it.
It's the tactility. Like, there's not a good spaceship. Like I've been very vocal about what would get me to play this game again, and that would be specifically the ability to board someone else's ship and break things in it, which would require such a drastic change to the game that it would never happen, even if this game did have developers still. I want to be in one of those stupid ass Star Trek drill pods that they had from the Thrawn books.
Yeah, being able to board other ships would be pretty cool. This thing is walking me through descent. Like it's telling me to like go down to 36 degrees and head towards heading 280.
It knows this? It has a glide angle calculator?
Yeah, it's giving me a glide angle.
You'd think that this would be something that the game's advanced computers could tell you.
Yeah, you'd think this would be something you could just like do in the fucking game normally, but apparently not. It's 5 kilometers ahead. We're very close.
I really don't like the glide function, actually.
I understand why it's there. I've made my peace with it.
It just feels goofy because they don't tell you how it works, and it doesn't handle like anything else in the game.
Nah, it really doesn't, but I understand why it's there.
Gliding is a weird feature in between Super Cruise and regular, where you are re-entering the atmosphere, and so you are moving at faster than your average speed. But because it's the future and you don't actually have to shed a certain amount of speed because your spaceship controls still work unless the gravity is really, really high, in which case you've already fucked up and you're dead, then you just don't have to worry about it. So it's like, it doesn't really matter. It's just a way to move slightly faster during the interstitial time period.
Mm-hmm. It's to cover the distance between orbit and like where you could meaningfully navigate interplanetarily, and like the surface where you can't do that.
It's probably the last nod they add in the game to actual verisimilitude, because the distance required to get to orbit versus the distance that you move outside of Super Cruise has like an order of magnitude difference in how useful it is.
Yeah, it also does a good job of hiding the loading screen.
Yes.
So anyway, you may remember last time we were looking for crystal shards.
What are we looking for, Mr. Boat?
Well, the thing is, we're looking for crystal shards, but here's the actual fucking crystal shards that we were looking for. They're very different from the ones that we found.
These are crystalline clusters, so
the others were also crystalline clusters, but here's the thing.
This game is a fucking shit show.
Hold on. Here's the thing about this one.
I hate turret mode so much.
I also don't like it. But anyway.
What? You just free fire! Come on, man! Or do hard points or something! Why does this have to be so different?
Because of reasons. Anyway, that's just pure yttrium, baby. And that was one crystal cluster. Do you see all this shit over here? Do you see that gigantic fucking forest of crystal shards? Unlike anything we saw during the previous times we were playing?
Yeah, it's
this is what we were trying to find.
Probably one of only like 4 in the galaxy.
It is, actually. People spent a very long time trying to find these.
So the thing about the game that's interesting conceptually, where it falls the fuck down, is that theoretically anything could be on any planet. You could land on something that no one's ever discovered before, and you could find a new, most optimum spot in the game to farm X material, or you could find a brand new Guardian site. In practice, though, anything really interesting has to be hand-placed, which means it's in one of the systems that the developers have intended for you to go to, which means it's in the core bubble. Because, especially as the game moved on, it would be a waste of time for it not to be.
Well, yeah, that's why Raxxla isn't real.
Right.
But I will give the Odyssey developers this. The way that it generates surface features like this is improved. Previously, they were just like on the navigation map. They were just like, oh, this planet has 2 geological signals, and that would be the only 2 places that you would find like fumaroles or whatever. Yeah. Now it doesn't do that. Yeah, now it generates them fully dynamically. Which is improved. Now, the problem is that this also makes it very hard to find them, because, as we've discussed, our super spaceship computer doesn't know how to fucking do anything. So it will show you a heat map, and you saw us try to find stuff by the heat map. It's not good. It's bad.
The real issue I have with it, actually, is just that the game has no easy way to display your planetary coordinates.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you got your latitude and longitude, and that's it. You can't set bookmarks. No, not allowed.
Yeah, so you
I'm
need to
gonna
use
shoot this with a gun.
Get your missile launcher.
Nah, this thing's pissed me off. I need to give it personal attention.
Unsafe temperatures. You are now freezing to death.
I've never felt better.
This is what the fucking. Your autocannon couldn't get it, but your handgun could.
Yeah. That's the trade-off to the Scorpion.
This fucking game.
The trade-off to the Scorpion is that it's basically a minigun. It needs to spin up, and before it spins up, it has wobble. Whatever. It's fine for fighting Guardian drones. In fact, it's better at fighting Guardian drones than the Scorpion, the Scarab, which is the only reason we're even gonna attempt that. You remember what happened when we tried to fight them in the Scarab? It was bad. It got so bad that I quit the game for a year.
Yes.
Hey, Cal.
Hi.
What if I sent you just a completely non sequitur image? Like, I just send you something.
You're always sending me things.
I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
send you another thing.
Please do. Send me
Here you
things.
go.
I like to be
I've
sent
sent you
things.
something.
I like receiving things.
I'm glad. It's fun to send things.
I'm not gonna like this, am I?
Oh, I think no, it's not like that. I'm very sorry you're playing bad video games, but I'm not.
I'm gonna look at this.
Their names are Salt and fucking Pepper. They're smugglers and pirates.
Hey, this is really good. That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Really good. It's really good.
It's pretty good. I appreciate that.
Hey, then, do you want me to send you something? Do you want to see what I've been sending people?
Hey.
Yeah?
Yes, sure, but I have something important to say about the OGL thing.
Go for it.
According to a buddy in another server, as a reminder, all kinds of shit was made with the original OGL, which they will have to adapt to the new OGL, including games like Knights of the Old Republic, which is currently remastered.
No.
This is Godzilla Let Them Fight .fucking.jpg.
Mother of God.
So, sorry we broke D&D forever, because Disney's about to fucking ram their fucking money up there.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
They just didn't think about that, did they?
I like salt.
Now,
and pepper.
here's my question. Because of licensing and whatnot. Is Disney about to shove their foot up their ass? Or is EA about to shove their foot up their ass?
Disney.
Oh, who even knows? It's got to be Disney because
they're fucked then.
EA licenses their games from Disney, so EA cannot make. EA has the exclusive rights to make Star Wars games, but they are licensing that from Disney. Disney owns the Star Wars video games IPs, which they purchased when they acquired LucasArts, which had LucasArts Studios and Lucasfilms as subsidiaries. That's when they got Star Wars.
Yep.
I think actually Marvel acquired them first, but they got the whole package deal because they bought out everything. Lucas doesn't own anything right now.
Yep.
George Lucas does not own LucasArts, which is fucking normal, I guess. It's fine that we can just do things like this now.
It's perfectly fine. It's fine and normal and good.
I can't wait to be able to smugly lord over people and say, you could have just played a different fucking system.
Hey, I will say
No,
this.
look.
I will say this for the D&D community of like, the people actually playing the fucking games in the trenches, actually doing this shit. I have seen a lot of people say that if these changes go through, they are not playing D&D anymore.
Good.
Now,
So-
are they actually going to stick to
Finally.
that? We don't know.
Yeah, the issue is this is a really critical time for somebody. I don't know who yet, but there needs to be another fantasy game that plays like D&D that can take over. That isn't Pathfinder, because they're kind of already inured to that. I think Pathfinder is going to pick up some of the slack, but there is going to be something else that launches here.
Oh, yeah, Pathfinder already put out an open game license.
Yeah, Pathfinder did just release a variant of an open gaming license. Yes, it's the same, similar terms to the original OGL with additional clauses to piss less people off. It's neat. It's cool that they're doing that.
It's made me slightly more interested in whatever Pathfinder 2 is doing.
Pathfinder 2.0 is essentially plays the same as D&D 4th edition. The critical thing is that it fixes the action economy of the games by so in Dungeons and Dragons Pathfinder or Dungeons and Dragons 3.5 edition, you have a move action and a standard action. And then essentially, and then you can combine them to make a full action. And this penalizes fighters especially, because fighters can only take one attack with a standard action, or they have to take multiple attacks. D&D 5e has a similar sort of setup where a movement is not an action, it's something that happens for free on your turn, and then you have a standard action. What Pathfinder does is, the new version of Pathfinder, you have 3 actions per turn. They're just actions. And you can dedicate these to moving, attacking, or doing something. And some of these actions, most notably casting spells, take multiple actions. Casting what would previously be a standard spell takes 3 of those actions. So this means that your fighter types or your light characters get to do a lot more, whereas your spellcasters still have very useful spells, but they can't take very long or complicated turns. And then some things happen a lot more seamlessly. Like in D&D 3.5 or 5e, it is a fucking gigantic pain in the ass to sprint, to move at double speed. In the new version, it's just you take 2 actions. You take 2 different moves.
So it's XCOM.
Yes, it's XCOM.
That rules, actually. That's good.
Otherwise, it uses very much the similar conventions to 4th edition, where a lot of stuff is balanced. It does not have the rigid classes or rigidly defined roles that did. And
that's probably for the best.
It has some kind of weird thing where it uses feats, and essentially classes are customizable because all class shells are a big combination of feats that you either get automatically or can take. And so you have a lot of build material to do. It's a lot of reading. I got to look through the playtest manual, and it was fucking illegible. It was like 300 words of plain 5-point text, 300 pages.
Good lord.
Yeah, it was nothing. I believe the release version is a higher page count but better formatting, which might make it readable. This was notably the same issue I had with Lancer, and Lancer turned out to be fine.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Mr. Boat,
Hi. That's me.
please look at this fucking cat.
One moment.
Already looked at salt.
I'm just spoiling the environment.
No, there's more. I'm just...
All right.
Fucking cat.
I'm looking. Hey, that's a really good cat.
It's a really fucking good cat. Like, god damn. Man.
That's a good cat.
Girls like it when the visual novel has expressions in it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Unironically,
I've heard this.
I really did expect the deck builder aspect to turn me off horrifically, but what I figured out here, technically, yes, the game is a deck builder, but you know what it actually is?
What?
Shop running simulator.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
No, I didn't hear you. What?
it's a shop running simulator.
Oh, well, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, and once I figured out that like the deck building aspect is just layered on top of that, and it's really just time management resourcing, the game's far more fun.
See, it starts like this. You start out being like, oh, well, this one deck building game is good, and before you know it, you'll be playing Dicey Dungeons, and you'll be completely insufferable.
No, because let's be real about something, Cal. If I was overly susceptible to deck builders, it would have come from the fact that I've been playing fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Since I was 5.
D&D Beyond has canceled the stream where they were going to address the OGL situation. They have lost a lot of enough subscriptions to the service that they have started to take notice.
Oh, really?
The leaked internal documents indicated that this was the quickest method of income that would get people's attention. I was honestly more worried with Pathfinder 1.0, 1D&D or whatever the fuck they called it. It was that they had decided to start piecemealing shit to you.
I guarantee if they can do that, they will.
It's just stupid.
It really is.
Expressions on this fucking cat.
Unfortunately, the thing is, this is going to be the worst possible outcome. Like, they're going to back off on the OGL, but they're still going to launch 1D&D and make people pay a subscription to access their player's handbook. And, like, a lot of people will not do that. Like, people with some fucking integrity will not. But, like, by and large, you'll still get your partnerships with Roll20 or whatever. And everything will just be fine until enough seasons of fucking crit roll or whatever get people to forget, and then they do it again.
The thing is that, like, they've hit that stage where they either don't have enough money. I know Wizards of the Coast underperformed, but I don't know what that actually means, because underperformance is a fucking non-statistic in economics at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That either they have become averse to spending any more money and this is going to absolutely sink them, or it is going to trigger another round of spending, and there's not really any way for me to be sure. The only thing I know for a fact is that there hasn't really been a lot of shit lately. Like, crit roll is in their stable, but I haven't heard anybody not annoying talking anything about the new seasons the way I have about the old ones.
Yeah, no,
they've lost some broad appeal.
For that. I can talk about this because when the new season did start, I was the one who had to sit in a server full of, the kind of like white ooh heckin' bean pupper whatever the fucks, right? And explain. So, hey, a lot of brown people are mad at this because it's sort of racist this season.
Is this the season where the blue, where the little goblin lady turned out to be like a white woman or something that had been turned into a goblin? She had been goblin.
No idea. Was that whatever the fuck Not was?
Yes.
No, that was season 2.
Okay.
Season 3, I'd never even touched it because, for one thing, I just could never get through all of crit roll. The thing was fucking inscrutable, and the only character I cared about died. So,
Fucking shut up, Henry! I don't want to play with you today.
Henry.
The issue with season 3 of Critical Role, if I remember correctly, was that they based it off of Southwest Asia and North Africa. You know what's coming. Clearly, this is going to rub shoulders with me because, like, you know what Kestrel's based on. But it also pissed off an unholy number of brown people. Like, quit fucking cosplaying us. And it was slightly controversial for some time, but in the same way that Final Fantasy XIV releases some cosmetics that caricaturize indigenous people like every 2 years.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that. Yeah, that is true. There's a lot of those. It's weird that keeps happening.
Weird. It's almost like the guy running the show might be kind of racist.
No.
You think the voice of McCree is racist?
What did they even rename him to? They renamed him, and I don't fucking remember. I just keep
Cassidy something.
It's like it's like Cassidy Butch or something like that.
Oh, who even fucking cares?
Exactly.
He's just McCree.
I don't give a shit. It's McCree. You're not changing it.
I'm going to Google it right now. This is the first time I've looked up Overwatch lore in years and years. Let's see.
God.
McCree
I'm picturing the kind of people who came into ABC wearing a Washington football team jerseys. But it's just McCree. Y'all remember that? They renamed that team, but I have not seen any jerseys with the new name.
Wonder why.
Yeah, you only see them with the old name, or you see them with Washington football team.
It's Cole Cassidy.
That is such a nothing name. That really is.
It super is. It's just so funny to me. Like, damn.
I forget what the problem was with McCree.
The reason they did it was because McCree was named after an employee who had been accused of sexual harassment.
Yeah, and that was the full extent of their response.
It's just... I can't help but go it's so silly. Because it's so nothing. It's like, buddy, the damage has been done.
Quit yelling!
Henry! Pick him up like a baby.
You tell what the fuck you are.
Bring him here.
I tried to. You ran away, so I'm not gonna fuck with you. But I learned to shut up. I'm gonna do it. I'm not letting you out, man. I have my spray bottle now. I don't like taking the nuclear option.
I was about to say, yeah, nuclear option. That'll do it.
No cat likes the spray bottle candy.
I've heard this.
Unless they're weird.
Gang. I hate how much Fire Emblem rewired my brain. I need a dating sim element to everything now.
It's funny. You can't tell what you want. You don't want me to get you. You don't want me to play with you. You just want to yell.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta scream, you gotta holler, you gotta yell, you gotta make noise. Anyway, that's all the yttrium we'll ever need. Probably. I don't know. We'll probably need more at some point. We should probably visit the other crystal sites and fill up on everything, honestly, but oh, I'm getting a little fatigued.
Are you now?
Yeah, just a little bit, you know?
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Look at this fucking ship, though. Look at this thing.
Here.
I love the keelback so goddamn much. I wish you could paint these without needing to pay money. I'd love to see this thing in, like, ass green.
Oh, I could paint it ass green.
Hell yeah.
The paint jobs for this are actually quite cheap. And I have just a number of arcs just left over from shit.
You got Playboy points, I forgot. I love the side thrusters, how obtrusive they are. I love the land gear components being such a huge part of this fucking small-ass ship. I like the docking rings, even though those never get used anywhere.
The what?
Look at the side. Look at the side of the ship. That's an airlock hatch. That's a docking ring.
Isn't that the hinge for the engine?
Is that the engine?
That's the engine right there.
The engines are on the back.
No, that's the side engine. They have little rotating side engines.
I didn't know this was the fucking
Did you not
ship.
notice? Did you not know that?
I never figured out how to use the third-person camera. I mostly judged it based on the cockpit and the promo shots.
Yeah, no, it's got. I'll show you when we take off. If I can remember how to open the fucking camera suite. Yeah, you got the main engines on the back right there. Those big suckers.
Yeah, I love
and then
those.
you got side thrusters.
I love those things the most, though, because they aren't painted and they don't match the rest of the equipment. It looks like you have actual aftermarket engines on this.
Yeah, it kind of just looks like they're on there. In fact, it looks like they're poorly attached because that doesn't fit flush to the rear of the ship.
Well, it's very Millennium Falcon in a way that I kind of like, without being trashy in the way that the Falcon usually is. Like the problems with the Falcon is that it's never quite the ship you want it to be. I think a lot about the Crate too, but the Crate had a shit ass cockpit. Why would you want a recessed cockpit?
I don't know. I guess so you can see your hard points on the side. I never really I got really into the Crate for a really long time, and then I just got tired of it. It was too good at everything.
The Crate was just a cheaper, better Python. It was a Cobra that was available for half the it was the second clean upgrade to the Cobra. It was a do everything ship. And the Crate was fucking phenomenal. It's still the best fighter in the game.
It's probably the best ship in the game, bar none. I like this hose that doesn't attach to anything.
That's good. That's for fueling.
Yeah.
No, it's not. That's a fucking missed model. They fucked that up.
Yeah, no, they fucked that one up. You're not supposed to be able to see it. Anyway, I'm gonna hop in this thing and I'm gonna show you the side thrusters. I'm almost certain you know about these, but have never not seen them articulate.
Probably. Is that how you generate lift thrust, like straight up and down? Does this articulate for that?
That would make sense. So no.
This fucking game, man. It's like they hired people who understood how they want spaceships to work to make the models, and then handed them off to somebody who doesn't give a fuck about space.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the obvious functions don't happen. Like, where hardpoints come out on some of these ships is completely arbitrary. Locations that do not or should not have room for a gun. Okay.
Alright, let me exit here so I can actually take off.
I like the little startup thing. It's goofy.
I do too. It's pretty good.
It shouldn't be on the UI. It should be on your rangefinder down there.
Ooh. Oh, that's a good good point.
Because
yeah, you're right.
Like, specifically, I think the VR elements of your UI should turn off or at least turn down when you're in the cockpit, and you should just have a real screen when you boot up your engine. I'm also the kind of sadist that thinks your ship should get cold when you're not in it, so you should come into another iced up. Oh, that's kind of neat. Why though?
I don't know.
You still have top hull. It's a fucking cargo ship. Why do you have those?
The neb is going to explode, I think.
No, it's not bad. It's just another baffling decision. Those rear thrusters are not far enough back. So
the ones here? The ones on the back? These main ones?
One's next to the radiating vanes. So the top, okay, when you pitch up, right?
Uh-huh.
The aft thrusters fire. Those are, yeah. So there's the set of 4 up on top, but 2 of those back 2 of the top 4 point thrusters, pinhole thrusters, those are center line on the ship. That is exactly the middle of the center of gravity of the ship.
Yeah.
Like 2 feet aft of it. Those
thereabouts.
Those aren't doing anything at all for you in terms of generating negative thrust. And I thought when you were pitching up that those were the ones firing. It turns out it's the rear engines, which makes even less sense, but whatever. But the other thing is that those side things are completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
They look like Star Trek nacelles, but they're not doing anything for you because those pinhole thrusters generate all the lift you need in actual space. This would never be able to get off a planet without anti-gravity, but neither would any other ship in the game, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you have your thrusters are magic.
Smart.
What?
You guys are fucking smart.
Yeah, your thrusters are essentially magic in that sense. You can land on a planet that has like 25 Gs or whatever, and so long as you're straight and level, your belly thrusters will be able to lift you off the ground. No
So
matter
the-
what.
This is like just old material, but when you're navigating in a 3D space and it has no gravity, you don't actually need a lot of thrust to move forward. So most starship engines that have been theoretically moved for either real fiction or for real use tend to be small ion thrusters, which literally are called that because they emit ions, as in little tiny particles. By continually dropping one particle out the back at a constant speed and constant direction, a constant rate and constant direction, you will continuously accelerate as long as you're doing it. And because of the way radiation works, you can then cut off that thruster. They don't actually generate a lot of thrust. The only thing you need a lot of thrust to do is get out of a gravity well. Which is why the only thrusters that you see on spaceships that are big are rear thrusters, or technically ventral thrusters that are designed to put on the bottom of the ship, the landing surface, to get you off of the land. Otherwise, you need some form of artificial gravity in order to do this. This is supposed to be a hard sci-fi universe. There's not supposed to be artificial gravity. There's actually not supposed to be planetary landing. Anytime a planet landed on the ship before Elite Dangerous, a ship landed on a surface of a planet, it was because it crashed and you were doomed. You couldn't get back.
Not correct. In Frontier Elite 2, that you could land on planets.
Really?
Yes. I believe any ship that you could fly personally, including the Panther Clipper, could land on a planet.
That's weird.
Yeah, it had planetary starports. Like, Frontier Elite 2 is a very advanced game. It had, like, actual planetary ports. It's the thing that Pioneer is based off of. You remember when we played Pioneer? That is more or less one-to-one Frontier Elite 2. Just with, you know, the serial numbers sanded off.
Right. Okay, so I'm wrong about that, but the science of the setting does not actually explain how you can do that. Because
Correct.
the little side thrusters are just intended for maneuvering. They use short bursts of flame, I guess. I don't think it's ever explained what this is.
I think these are implied to be MPD thrusters, since they run exclusively on hydrogen. That of course stands for MPD. Of course stands for, as we all know, magnetoplasma dynamic.
Right, of course.
Of course, everyone knows this.
Who could forget magnetoplasma dynamic?
Yes.
So those are intended to be used for short maneuvering, and in space it all makes a lot of sense. Like the initial release of Elite Dangerous is, despite all evidence to the contrary, extremely well thought out. Almost all of the initial designs work for what they want them to do. The delta-shaped hulls are looking at the initial design is really interesting because all of the classic ships are rendered faithful to their wireframes from the older games, and then all of the new ships look like actual spaceships that you would see in space, in like a hard sci-fi setting. And then they made a bunch of new shit after that followed whatever rules that they got from the guys on ArtStation, but like all of the release ships are designed either to match up with what somebody thought a spaceship should look like in fucking 1992, or what they think one should look like now, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's also kind of not interesting, so whatever. Like the Cobra. The Cobra is the only ship you can play in the original Elite. Everything else is rendered as something else, so it's an NPC. And the wireframe only uses like 8 models, and the Cobra 3 is also available in Elite 2. I don't think it's the main ship in there, but you can see it. And it's just, so that is just, it's the ship, it's the iconic ship, and it matches the wireframe perfectly while also still working as a ship in space. It's the thrusters I mentioned that are used for maneuvering are on the tips of the wings, and it's shaped, you know, like a big parasail. So those generate a lot of lateral thrust. And so that would allow you to turn very quickly, which is reflected in game by the Cobra 3 having a very strong lateral turning motion. It can turn on its central axis very, very quickly.
Yeah, almost all of the flight model is based pretty much extrapolated exclusively from how the Cobra handled in the very first game, which is you don't yaw. You generally avoid yawing as much as possible, which is of course turning left and right.
Now
you
explain
roll.
to me what yawing means.
I will show you right now.
So you have, when you're maneuvering in 3D space, or this is typically used for aircraft, you have 3 movement axes. There are pitch, roll, and yaw. So imagine that your ship is standing on an invisible axis. It has lines moving in all 3 dimensions, in X, Y, and Z, right? So in the direction you're facing, your pitch, Cow, pitch up for us. and you're going to want to watch the star background. So that is pitching up and pitching down. That is moving the nose up or down. That's pitch.
All right.
So roll. Cal, roll for us. We are rolling to the right, and now we are rolling to the left. So those would be your y-axis there, and then your z-axis then would be turning to the left or right. That's your last plane of movement. So that's yaw. So we are yawing left right now, and then we are going to yaw right. Don't ask me why they use these measurements. I know pitch and roll are from ships. I don't remember what yaw is.
I can never remember what yaw is. Well, I can never remember the etymology of yaw. I know what yaw is. So let me demonstrate real quick.
The significance of this in 3D space, when you are specifically in space, is that you don't need forward motion. So the game has something called flight assist, which allows you to move as though you're in an atmosphere. That means you move forward, and then you can pitch, roll, and yaw relative to your forward motion. But you're in space. You can turn off flight assist, and then you can do these things completely independently of your movement axis, which is where things get both really trippy and really interesting in the game.
Up to the point where the game cheats to stop you.
Yeah, it's really fucking hard to do. One of the things about 3D motion with flight assist off is that it is theoretically almost impossibly easy to get into an unrecoverable spin whenever you're subjected to any gravity field, and the game makes it a lot easier for you to stop motion than it would be to otherwise do it. Oh, right. You have thrust, too. Thrust is an important measurement. Thrust is literally just your forward speed.
Yeah, it's just your forward spin.
Okay.
There we go. We are now, with assist off, we are now traveling at 100 meters per second in a straight line, and if I pitch, notice the dust going by the cockpit. Our forward vector has not changed.
Yes.
We are simply rotating as we move in that direction. And then
we will continue to spin until we pitch in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So we're currently pitching upwards at a fixed rate based on what our previous pitch speed was until we pitch down.
Yep.
Now, this means you can do stupid shit like accelerate to your max speed, change direction based on whichever of those three measurements moves the fastest for your ship, and then fire at things that are behind you while moving your top speed in the opposite direction. Which is neat. And it's interesting because the game does actually simulate reverse thrust. You can go in reverse, but because your forward thrusters, the ones that are pointing forward, are weaker than your aft thrusters, the ones that move you forward, you move normally at a lower speed. But if you're good at this flight assist thing, the flight assist turning is what makes this game interesting for guys who play the combat parts of it. Because it is the only thing this game has over like an equivalent Ace Combat. There's only one situation where you can do that in atmospheric flight, and that is when you are stalling out of a dive. And that's exceedingly dangerous and really predictable, which is a bad combination to be in.
Cargo scoop deployed.
Stalling is... Do you know what stalling is, Khaki?
I mean, isn't that when you just stop moving? Or you stop applying thrust?
No, it's not when you stop applying thrust. It's when your thrust can no longer counterbalance the effect of gravity or another motion on you. Yep. So when you going into a stall is when you hit your flight ceiling. You hit a point at which... So when you're using a jet, right, or another airplane, the lift generated on your ship is a function of the angle, the pitch at which you hold your ship, how you hold your flaps, and probably more important than anything else, the density of the air versus the speed of the aircraft. So air has to have a certain density. When your wings are in such a shape that when held at a specific angle, more air is forced under them than is forced over them, which generates lift, upward force, which is what make plane fly. Most planes...
Another fucking porn bot. Jesus.
And your Tumblr or what?
Oh yeah, I checked my notifications because my phone buzzed and it was a porn bot following
There's
me.
one in the fucking chat now?
No,
there's there's nobody in there.
Not even me.
Yeah, but anyway, that's all about like planes. But for the actual flight model for the game, which, like I said, was all extrapolated from how the Cobra handled in the first game, was to reach that dot there on my compass, to point at that. I would not want to look left or right. I would want to roll and then pitch.
Yeah, the yaw speed on almost every ship is very slow, which
Yeah.
makes sense because the ships tend to be very wide and not very long.
Yeah.
So
Ironically, the keelback actually has one of the fastest yaw speeds and one of the worst pitch speeds, which makes it the worst fit for my like instinctual muscle memory for flying it, which is very fun.
that's fantastic.
It's
for you.
really good.
Love that.
Look how fast it yaws compared to how it pitches. Like, this is pretty quick, but it's slower than the Cobra.
Yeah, I do think the pitch speed is still a little faster, but it's hard to tell in absolute terms. In general, in a physics model that is real and not the video game, these speeds would theoretically be based almost exclusively off the location of the thrusters. The further away from centerline they are, the faster this would be. If assuming all these thrusters are the same power, which they are in the lore of the game at least, because they're all the standard sized little round divot thrusters. So if you had a thruster on your nose and another one on your tail, and your nose and tail are very far apart, you're going to turn laterally faster than if they were on the middle of the ship and you had a short, squat ship. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So, the other important thing to note is that for the purposes of this game, keeping everything consistent, these thrusters are designed to fire in pairs. So if you have one thruster firing on the left side of the ship, you have another thruster firing in the same place in like the right back of the ship, and that will make your ship turn to the yaw to the right. But if you don't balance these things, which you can do in real life, you just go into fucking tailspins because you don't balance the forces on your ship, and you fucking spin forever and you die.
Yeah, that's me. That's me trying to do RCS on any build I've ever done in Kerbal Space Program. It used to be easier.
This is where the rocket science thing comes in, because it is in fact absurdly complicated to locate the exact center of mass of your ship, and then
It's quite hard.
you're at the correct angle and position in order to make that work. It's why most spaceships are kind of just some variant of a perfectly symmetrical object. It makes this math quite a bit less complicated. It's also incidentally why the delta-shaped hull is useful, because that has a lateral mass balance, which allows you to roll more easily. Like the keelback. So when I say delta, it means like a D shape, but with a flat nub at the front. That shape, assuming the sides are not bladed to be perfectly thin, is very, very stable in space. And so it's very easy for you to move it manipulate its angle without sending it into a permanent tailspin. It has a very prominent forward element while also still having balanced mass on the back and front that you could use to keep the thrusters in the right position. This is because when you have a triangle, the percent that's more or less homogeneous in mass, you can just move the center of gravity back, and it's very easy to calculate that, as opposed to if you have something that's shaped like a fucking kumquat or whatever, you know? Like, it's harder to do this with spheres. It's very, very difficult to do it with anything that is in a regular shape.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's your daily rocket science lesson, I guess.
It was indeed a rocket science lesson.
It's just physics, but it's not. I mean,
You
it's
say that like I would know physics. Is the thing.
pointing at you and yelling art major like I'm a child of the corn.
Exactly. I am, listen, it's not, crucially, it's not even that I was bad at math. It was that I didn't like doing it. It was
I can't do any of this. Okay, I say I can't do any of this math. So I can't do any of the complicated variants of this math, but I understand more or less enough math to understand where I would need to put the numbers in if I had all the equations. Now, the tricky part, and the reason that what people say it is rocket science or it is not rocket science, is that these equations all change when you get real world conditions. Like the positions of the thrusters are, and their effects on your lift are all done in zero gravity, but you're not actually in zero gravity in most places in space. You're in very light gravity, which means that if you are trying to swing by a moon at 3.5 million miles, you are going to have a slight thrust in the direction of the moon from the effect of gravity on you, which means you will have to balance your thrusters to make facing adjustments.
Yeah, everything acts on everything else in space.
Right. Which means that you need to know what everything else is and where it is. Now, the good news is that space is so fucking big that it's really easy to tell this. But you have to know it.
Correct.
You can't just wing it.
You can't just wing it.
There's very little winging it in space. If you're winging it in space, you better have a torch
You're
drive.
probably going to die. That's what it sounds like. If you're winging in space, you're going to die.
More or less.
Yeah, no, it's and when it comes down to it, this is mostly an engineering problem more than anything else. If you have an adequate supply of fuel, your ship is well balanced, you can correct thrust issues, which is how you get out of problems like you had in the Apollo missions. Apollo 13, you might have heard about it. They had a really bad time in space. There was a pretty decent movie about it. We should watch it at some point.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
It was an air tank ruptured on their way to the moon, and they almost died in outer space, and they had to do a bunch of fuck shit in order to fix it. But the first thing that happened was it sent them into a tailspin because the location of the air tank generated outward thrust, which quickly disrupted their course. They were about a minute away, if they had not taken action within the first 30 seconds to secure the leak. They were about a minute away of spinning out and literally not being in a recoverable position for their orbit.
Yep.
Despite the speed at which they were moving, the relatively small amount of thrust versus the massive rocket speed that they had been moving at in order to get out in the air would have killed them. It would have been
That sounds frightening.
Then they
Space is just like that, yeah.
They didn't know what had blown up at first. They didn't know what that was happening. So they had to figure that out with it very, very quickly. They found out it was their air tank. They found out where the leak was, isolated the leak, found a portion of the ship, which turned out to be the lunar lander, which was not supposed to be an inhabitable space. It's very small, that could be secured against the lack of oxygen, and then stayed in there for the rest of the mission.
That's...
Yeah, they came up with some wild stuff on the fly. It's pretty cool. Yet, the way my brain works, the thing I remember the most when I think about Apollo, what was it, 13?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one. The thing that comes to mind the most when I think about Apollo 13 is a riff from the Mystery Science Theater 3000 episode of where they did The Incredible Melting Man, where there's a sequence where the titular Melting Man is in the orbit of Saturn, and as they're just doing astronaut shit, I don't even remember who says it, just says like, "Now can you stir the tanks without killing us this time?" That's a good one.
The initial kickoff for Apollo 13 was they stirred the oxygen tanks. That you have to change over the oxygen tanks to make sure the valves don't freeze on regular intervals. It's about a 6-hour operation.
Yep. Otherwise they freeze and you die.
Yeah. If the valve freezes over and you try to use that oxygen tank, the valve explodes and you die, which is what ended up happening. They stirred the oxygen. It knocked there was a wire loose. It caused a spark. They were pumping pure oxygen into the area. It detonated. That punched a hole in the outside of their spaceship because, as it turns out, spaceships for the Apollo missions were not exactly built very fucking sturdy because they only have to exist in space where there isn't a whole lot of other shit to ruin your day.
I mean, most ships aren't very sturdy.
Yeah, no, because it's
the sci-fi idea of like a ship, a durable armored space frame is just that, a sci-fi idea.
Yeah, one of the reasons we don't have a lot of space stuff is that even those space shuttles, I mean, we've lost 2 space shuttles to repeated mission stresses alone. Now, some of that was from atmosphere, but some of that is just that if you hit anything in space, it's moving as fast as the orbit speed of the object is, which tends to be pretty goddamn fast. Like bolts and shit and debris from
yeah, I mean that's what happened to not the Challenger, the one that blew up coming back.
Yeah, that ended up being a
Yeah, they just got dinged by a piece of foam on the way up, basically, but the relative velocity involved was such that it cracked the heat shielding. Took some tiles off. Columbia, that's the one.
Yes, the the Challenger exploded on the way up. The Columbia exploded on the way down.
Hey, if you want to have a really bad time, look up the. I'm not even gonna tell you. It's that bad of a time.
Yeah, the thing though is that we haven't lost. We've never actually. The United States has never lost a spaceship in space. We've lost a lot of them on their way to or from space.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, not to interrupt you guys, but for whatever reason, the jungler fucking NPC in this game is just caked to shit.
The what?
So you get different. Is an old word for clown.
Oh, really?
And yes.
I didn't know that.
Blame Final Fantasy 14. You didn't get far enough in Shadowbringers.
I mean, I meant the junglers. I just didn't know that was what a jungler was. I thought it was a weird fantasy word for clown. I didn't know it was a historical word for clown.
The way they spell jail in that game, also an archaic spelling.
Oh, well, that I knew.
Yeah, jungler is it's a French and Old English word.
Weird.
Well, anyway, caked up.
It comes from juggler. It's probably the pants they use.
They do have special clown pants.
Well, this is not from the one in the game. Yeah, no, it is the pants. So the jonglers were specifically, they were jugglers, acrobats, and musicians. But that means they had to be toned and they were wearing the medieval equivalent of tights. So.
Yeah, so that's why your archaically named clown would be caked. I heard a beep. I heard a Discord beep.
You didn't hear it from me.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty fucking caked, actually. Mother of God! Are those painted on? Jesus.
Tights, man.
Yeah, they sure are.
Yeah, those are tights, I guess.
Fuck, dude, they sure are. Oh, there was another thing. Yeah, changing the subject back from tight pants to that time that people died in, well, not in space, but close to space. There were two depressing things about the Challenger, and I'm not going to tell you what one of them is, but I will tell you what the other one is. Big Bird was almost on the space shuttle when that one on the Challenger. They almost put Big Bird on there.
Yeah, we almost lost Big Bird. Could you imagine?
Yeah, it's because
history would be irrevocably changed.
History would be so fucking different. I don't even know what that would look like. I can't conceive of that. But like the only reason is because they couldn't. What was the name of the performer at the time? Carol Spinney. They're like size with the suit on would not fit with like the safety stuff that they would have to wear.
Yeah, you couldn't fit Big Bird over the equivalent of the modern space suit. You have to wear the full suit on launch.
Yeah, and just in case there's any kind of depressurization problems, in which case you have a pressure suit.
The Challenger depressurized rather more quickly.
Well,
so the
well, yeah. You go ahead. I'm just alluding to horrible things.
The Challenger had 7 people. They were coming up to look at Halley's Comet. They had 1 civilian and 6 Air Force crew members. The civilian was teacher named Krista McAuliffe.
Yep.
She won a nationwide contest. The shuttle launch was being broadcast worldwide. It happened at 11:30-ish a.m. So kids were getting like a special day on school. This was 1986.
Yep.
It is the first fatal accident involving an American spacecraft currently in flight. 73 seconds after launch, an O-ring, the primary and secondary redundant O-ring seals in the shuttle's solid rocket booster failed due to low temperatures. Low temperatures have resulted in the rubber material of an O-ring is rubber or rubber-like material that is designed to be compressed to form an air.
And Khaki knows what an O-ring is.
You know what an O-ring is, Khaki? Okay.
What's an O-ring? If you start, I'll probably begin to remember it.
An O-ring is a rubber or rubber-like material that is designed to be fitted between two solid units and compressed so that it forms a fluid-tight seal.
So a condom.
Kind of.
A condom is completely. It's like the rubber ring around the base of the condom. It's like that part.
Yes. Okay.
The actual condom. It's not supposed to form a completely airtight seal because it's used for when you connect two pipes together. If you go into your shower and you take apart the shower head, you're gonna find an O-ring in there. It's what keeps the fluid from coming out.
Oh, now I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah. So, because it was rubber and it was not certified for its use as a fucking rocket ship part, but especially for the low temperature, it was very cold that day. It was in January. It was a kind of a cold year in Florida, and it caused it to fail. Solid rocket fuel moved into a place where they didn't want solid rocket fuel. Solid rocket fuel is really cold and really explosive material, and it was sublimating due to the temperatures generated by the rocket, which caused it to explode early. This is what is known in the aeronautics industry as bad, because when it exploded, it took everything fucking else with it. The amount of rocket fuel required to go to space is truly absurd compared to the size of something you need to get. Escaping Earth gravity well is...
If that shit goes off at the wrong time, you are having a very bad problem and you will not be going to space today. Well, maybe some of you will.
You will not go to space. That's the fucking... I forgot the line. Thank you, Cal. Yes.
It's never far from my mind.
If your solid rocket fuel detonates at the wrong time, you will not go to space today. They did not go to space today. They exploded over the Atlantic Ocean. The shuttle moved away from the explosion at a speed of almost Mach 2, which tore it to pieces. The rocket boosters detached and flew uncontrolled until the command ground crew forcibly detonated them. The rest of the rocket boosters were... They're so big and so heavy that they were undamaged by the blast when the shuttle was...
Yeah, we're talking about those two big side rockets.
The crew members likely survived until they impacted the ocean at Mach 2. Well done, Cal.
Sometimes it happens. I don't know how.
Well,
Cal is going to space today.
going to space.
I'm so glad there's no fall damage in this game.
Oh, there is. I arrested it.
Okay.
We are so far away that I don't know where that piece of yttrium went.
Anyways, that was the Challenger disaster. That was the, it's considered the worst space disaster the United States has had. We've had some pretty bad ones, but that was the worst one. It created a lot of very interesting changes to the program for anything that required very tight controls. That would be certain types of weapon, all rockets, and all submarine designs, amongst other things. Created a program for tracking that material in the government. You have to understand where it comes from manufacture to use, and you have to understand the material qualities that it's designed to be rated for and when it's supposed to be replaced, which is an absolute shit ton of paperwork, and it ensures that this basically never happens again. And the second disaster didn't happen again. It was a different cause.
Yep, that was the one where they got winged by foam, basically. Relative velocity is a real bitch.
The Columbia was not as bad. Everybody still died, but during the launch, a piece of foam had launched from had fallen off one of the external tanks and struck the thermal protection tiles. That was the big neat thing that makes space shuttles so iconic. They have thermal protective tiles on them that are made of a weird-ass space-age material that allows...
I always forget what it's made of. I keep thinking it's ceramic for some reason.
It's like ceramic, but it's not. It's one of those things where it's like you would assume it would be harder, but it's actually more of an insulative material. Not a protector.
It is not intended to absorb any kind of impact. That shit will just snap right off.
Which is what happened. This had happened on a lot of previous launches. Anything hitting the tiles,
Smoke.
fall
Come
off.
on.
But it was designed only to resist heat. Now the issue is that a lot of other things happen to it, including from the compressive forces of heat. Mostly when the friction hits the ship, it starts to try and move things. When it had, because of the damage, they had missed a whole tile, which meant that air could get under the tiles and pull the rest of the tiles off. This resulted in everyone in the Challenger burning alive as it re-entered atmosphere. It penetrated the shield, destroyed the internal wings,
Sounds like
and disintegrated the ship in midair when it was still in the upper atmosphere.
this sounds like an especially painful way to die.
It's basically instant. Better than the Challenger. Don't
Yeah,
look into that.
Ooh, the Challenger's very bad. The
Don't
Challenger,
look into that.
No, we don't know when everybody in the Challenger died because there was no timeline. But very likely, if they were not killed initially due to the acceleration of the moving the ship at Mach 2 in the direction it wasn't intended to be, it probably was when they were arrested from the move of Mach 2 by hitting the ocean. You remember that bit that we keep posting about the?
I remember.
Okay.
I remember. I've got an idea of what exactly happened. You need no longer explain.
I forget if there were pictures for that one. I don't remember. This predates the internet shock image era, but I don't know.
What are we talking about?
The Challenger. I forget if there were pictures. I know there was a picture that I think was fake from the Columbia where someone found a bone from the debris in their backyard.
No, I'm always thinking, this is the depressing thing I was trying not to talk about, but, it's late, we're getting wild here. No, there's a frame by frame of the explosion where someone tracks what is most likely the crew capsule. Pretty dark shit.
Yeah. I mean, that was just what the internet was. It was people posting, this is before cat pictures, so when you saw something, it was usually Henry, come on, what are you doing? I can't even tell where you are.
Henry loves aeronautical disasters.
Henry
His
prefers
favorite topic.
nautical related, not aeronautical.
Oh.
Not an
Wait, this isn't even aeronautical, this is aerospatial.
I get him.
Mm-hmm. Well, it happened due to the air, so. Nautics is kind of a loose term. There were nautics. There was fluids. Air is a
There were
fluid.
nautics. There were fluids.
There's fluid dynamics involved. Well, anyway. Oh, hey, I think that's... Oh, no, that's my ship. Never mind. I saw a glowing thing in the distance. I was like, hey, is there also volcanism on this planet? No, that's just my ship that I parked earlier.
There was one other disaster. I forget the other one. We lost one of the Apollo missions because the fucking crew module just blew up on the landing pad.
Yeah, that was one of the earliest ones, possibly Apollo 1, the first one? Caught fire on the landing pad. Everyone just burned. Very mundane death for how it was part of the space program. Normally, you don't expect to die on the landing pad. Normally.
Yeah, they let the crew... Oh, cool. Wikipedia has a picture of the internal cabin after the fire.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking gnarly.
So, due to the compressive forces they were going to undergo and the difficulty of moving anything into the space, plus the relative efficiency of the fluids, they decided to use just pure oxygen as opposed to an oxygen carbon dioxide nitrogen mix when they were moving through outer space. This did a it's useful for a lot of reasons. For one, it means that you can use non-catalytic conversion to change CO2 into oxygen because it's a lot easier to do without filler elements in the air. The big issue, though, is that oxygen, you may have heard, is flammable.
Yep.
Yes.
It's actually very close to explosive at 100% concentration.
Mm-hmm. And it gets even worse when you compress it.
Yes, it does. is compression increases the temperature and the relative density, which makes it more explosive. The definition of an explosion is just a fire that happens faster than it can burn.
Yeah.
Which is a lies to children level of explanation, but I don't want to get into it because it's not important. Yeah. The Apollo 11 cabin interior burnt. It killed everybody probably faster than they could think.
Well,
It was
at
already...
least it wasn't overtly painful.
The upsetting part is that they noticed it was burning and talked about it before they could move. Oh, never mind. The astronauts were asphyxiated.
Huh.
That was also probably very fast, but they couldn't get the hatch open. The fire erupted out of the ship, and the cause of death was asphyxiation. Space is dangerous, gang. Even
Space is dangerous even when you're not there yet. Yeah. Or when you're leaving it.
And keep in mind, this was the space race. These were the early-ass programs to get into that. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing in most cases. Orbital dynamics was a new field. Computers didn't really exist. I mean, I'm sure you've heard the stuff where it's like the amount of computing system that they use to program the Apollo could fit on a pocket calculator now. That's not inaccurate, and it did take the whole building to do it. It was all hand done. It wasn't even coding. Isn't even the right word for it, although it's the word that it's become. It's just it was sewing. You had to sew electric circuits.
I know.
Yeah, but it's just fantastic stuff.
I love those chunky
I know
old computers.
certain things, amazingly. I know some things.
The landing.
Jackie does know things.
Apollo 12 was the next
Oh,
one.
hello.
Apollo 13.
Hello. Hi, Vapor Skull. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the convoy.
Hello.
Sorry, I missed your chat there. I was busy despoiling the environment.
We were talking about space disasters.
Yeah, we're currently engaged in a discussion about space disasters, which is
We're keeping the mood low tonight.
it's a bit of a low mood night, yeah.
It is
But I
an
appreciate you
amazing
stopping
night,
by.
but also, you guys are very giant fucking nerds.
Oh yeah, we all are here.
Playing Elite Dangerous. What do you expect?
Yeah. But also, you guys are huge nerds. And I'm an art major. Damn.
It do be like that.
How did anyone?
I gotta set this thing to beep when I get a first time chat. I was like completely sucked into this window over here.
We should watch
Find it.
13. We should get Apollo 13.
We should do that.
Apollo 13 had a really solid movie. It's Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, Bill Paxton.
Yep.
You know Tom.
Heard these names.
It's a surprisingly accurate adaptation. They worked very close with NASA, and they got to use they filmed partially in the recovered lander. They built a set for most of the big scenes, but like they got to actually be.
Oh wow, they actually built a set. It got my attention.
Keep in mind.
Yeah, they don't really do that anymore, do they?
The movie came out in '95, and it was about the disaster, so they needed a set. I mean, hell, they did that shit. Like, Titanic had a fucking set. Titanic was '99. People almost drowned on the Titanic set.
Oh, yeah. What is it with James Cameron and almost drowning people? He does that all the time.
He's big on water, I've heard.
I mean, I
Maybe
guess.
About the way of it.
You know, could be. Could be.
Interesting guy, that Cameron.
God, who was it that took a swing at him on the set of The Abyss? It was Ed Harris, right?
Is that Harris?
Yeah.
Ed Harris almost killed him. Ed Harris almost drowned filming The Abyss. The Abyss was James Cameron's first, I think, big budget picture. It's about the fucking Soviet Union and finding a magical Atlantis structure underwater. And a lot of it was filmed underwater, and during a scene where someone was supposed to drown, Ed Harris almost fucking drowned. They didn't get it. He was supposed to take his regulator off or something like that, and James Cameron had him actually do it, and was supposed to have someone there to get the regulator to him, and the regulator that they had on hand did not work, and they were filming deep underwater because he's fucking deranged. They were filming like 30 or 40 feet underwater, and he ended up inhaling a lot of fucking water and barely making it out.
Yeah.
You know, I think I would have killed him too. Just for fun, just for sport.
Yeah, Ed Harris had to be held back, and Ed Harris was like the only reason they could hold Ed Harris back was because Ed Harris had almost drowned and he was not doing great. So
Oh yeah.
Beautiful.
James Cameron said something like, "We're done for the day," and then like ran.
God. The Abyss is pretty good though.
The Abyss is good, but I don't want to watch The Abyss until we see fucking that one that we've been threatening to show everybody with the mining team on the fucking moon.
Oh.
Hey.
Oh, which one is that? Is that Moontrap?
Yeah, Moontrap.
Oh, I love Moontrap. It's so fucking bad, but it
We have
rules.
to watch more bad space movies.
We really do. Bruce Campbell's in that.
Who's
Walter
ready to
Koenig is in that too.
So many names.
Yeah. He's Chekhov. Chekhov from Star Trek. Lorbo from my shows, you know?
Gunn. Is Gunn.
Yeah, that guy.
Koenig is the headline actor in this. And
Yeah.
it's very young Bruce Campbell, 1989. Yeah, that was just after he started getting the chin, I think.
I think I may be misremembering, but I believe that Walter Koenig is also the headline actor of the direct-to-DVD sequel.
That sounds right. Walter Koenig has. Walter Koenig was very young when he was cast, and he didn't age as gracefully as some of the other actors, and didn't get very good projects after that. So he's kind of been hanging around doing whatever Star Trek shit they want him to do.
Yeah, he was in all of those fan films.
Yeah.
Can't remember the name of the series because they had to change it because Paramount didn't want them to finish it.
Star Trek Renegades.
That's the one. He's in that. He's in a lot of Star Trek Online also.
Yeah, because he's cheap. He's not.
You know,
doing
he's fine. He's fine. I don't like the Time War storyline, but you know what? It's nice seeing him.
He did a lot of TV stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing okay. I think he's still alive. I think.
He would. They didn't add his stuff to Star Trek Online yet, which means he's not dead. So.
Okay, yeah.
There seems to be an anime out at this point that is just about a girl who is a lesbian.
No.
He's on Babylon 5 too. Which one?
No, not even G-Witch. I'm trying to figure out which one this is. It's I think I actually have this as a fucking The Magical Revolution of the Reincarnated Princess and the Genius Young Lady.
Oh yeah, that's it's another isekai thing, but it's gay, which makes it.
Oh, okay.
Deliberately gay, because the first things out of her mouth, literally, this is a set of screen caps from Twitter, Cal. I will send this to you.
Okay.
So you can see for yourself. It's just this little girl saying, "If I get married, I am not fucking no man." Which, you know what?
Fair.
She was real as shit. She was real as shit for that. Now, I've got a question. Who wants to see what I sound like live whenever I have to deal with fucking faux Noda?
Oh, is she showing up in your game?
Yup.
I think you probably break down and become very embarrassing.
Well, let's test that theory, shall we?
I don't think we have a choice.
I don't think we have a choice.
You think Vapor Skull is related to Exploding Skull?
I don't know. They followed, and I said hello.
They're not in chat. I think they followed and then immediately left.
Yeah, seems
I
like.
probably enjoyed the aesthetics.
Well, that's
I'd
good to
have
see. I had a fun time making these aesthetics.
I'd have to stream this. Jesus fucking Christ. I might stream it in the server for... Right, you can't do that because Elite will sometimes eat your entire system.
What?
I was thinking I may just need to, like,
stream it in the server so you all can see what the average interaction with this character is.
Pretty late for me. I have to do something else.
It's exactly this will.
I
not
have
take-
good
it's
news.
A Fire Emblem support cutscene.
That's about the amount of antimony that I'm ever going to need.
We're done with antimony.
We're done with antimony, and in fact, I believe we are done with material collecting.
We are untimony.
Well, fuck off. We are done with collecting raw materials anyway.
Wow.
I had an idea to also do the Guardian stuff, but we're not doing that tonight. We are over time.
Fair enough.
I'd love
It
to see
is
the
11.
Go back and a fucking. I guess it doesn't matter. It's all landing shit anyway. But still, fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we're actually equipped for it. We have the Scorpion SRV, which is, you know, the good one, and we have point defense on our ship. So it should be comically easy, except for the part where you have to do it like 5 times. Oh, and a new bug that was introduced that makes it harder. If you park your ship too far away, it breaks. It doesn't work.
I love that.
Intoxicating. So you have to be close enough to dodge the anti-aircraft fire, and also far enough away that you don't get hit by it.
Yeah, the thing is, you want to park close anyway because you want your point defense to defend you from missiles. But the thing is that some people with larger ships cannot park close, and so if they park a ways away, the puzzles break. I don't know how, but people are complaining that they break.
That's great.
It's great. It rules. Anyway, I'm just gonna log us out here on the surface, I think. I feel like flying. There we are. There we are.
Heals your back.
I love that fucking helmet. Just look at it. It's beautiful. I also love that they just kind of haphazardly crammed another seat in there. It's just there. Look at that.
Yeah.
I was gonna make a "this could be us, but you playing" joke, but I would never ask anyone to play this game. Alright. Stretch. Ow. Oh, wow, that was a loud one. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard
Did-
that. I'm so
did-
sorry.
Yeah, did you hear my back pop? Jesus.
Oh, Jesus. Are you okay?
No. 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 Not really. Anyway, how's it going, everyone? We have come to the end of our stream. Thank you for dropping by. Thanks for the follow again, Vapor Skull. I hope we didn't scare you off by immediately talking about space disasters and gay isekai anime. Though, let's be real, the latter should not scare anyone. I think... I don't know. Like, let's be real. We're fucking shackled to this game. No matter how long we spend complaining about it, we will be coming back to it at some point. So we are going to do the Guardian grind at, I don't know, a later date. I'll figure it out. Maybe next week. I don't know. I'm going through it, folks. I'm thinking probably next week we're going back to the 7 o'clock start time. Maybe? I don't know. We'll figure that out. I told you all that, though, so I could tell you that I have some other stuff I want to stream as well. We might go back to SnowRunner, or we might do some City Skylines, or possibly Project Zomboid once I get to the point where I'm in any way confident with my ability to play that game.
I mean, honestly, it's better when you're bad at it.
That's kind of the thing. It's like a very thin line between
It's entertaining and depressing.
If we could block out some scheduling time, it actually does get better in multiplayer. And
I want to get us back. I want to get all 3 of us back on there, but it's just not overlap. I gotta try and get Ribbon into the server so we can actually coordinate.
90% of the issue with the game is not knowing where things are on the map. And once you understand at least part of the area that you start in, it's a lot easier. Like, I made it 7 days in my last run before I got eaten due to stupid-ass misplay. I left my screen zoomed out when a guy was fighting me, and I got bit on the arm because I fucking had the angle wrong.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, no, and even if you're just vibing like I often do, you go into the back of a VHS store, and what do you find in the back of the VHS store? Things you would expect to find there. It's perfectly logical. But anyway, yeah, we might play some of that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. For now, though, I'm sleepy. I'm a sleepy boy. I got sleepy bitch disease. I gotta go drink some water and relax.
All right.
So, good night, everyone. But before we do that, I'm gonna push this button.
Yes.
Never forget the sacrifice of the USS Voyager's hazard team.
7.
07, Commanders.
07, Commander.
07. And once again, thanks for the follow, Vapor Skull. Good night, everyone. So long.
It fired twice. Does it just...
Au revoir. Did it fire twice?
Yeah, it fired twice.
What the fuck? Are you kidding me?
No, I think this just loops.
No! No! That can't be how it's working. God damn it! I'm so upset.